Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a coffee, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patreons, I'm going to do a shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So, a very massive and enormous thank you to Steve on the level, Thomas van der Zander, Cannabear, Gary Hughes, Measured Flat, Chris Wouters, Mr. Amish, Sensual Goat, Mitch Kennedy, Rod the Name's Burley, Trod Wazzle, Jason Hornsby, Christoph Fournier, Flat Earth Travolta, JMels24, Unimento, Iron26, Endless, Golden McKinnon, Retro Bill, Level Playing Poem, John Kays, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Melby Styles, Hairy Blade, Mobile Max 777, Del West Watson, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, Abraham Hamid, Skeptic 936, Texas Mike, Chow Young Cat, and David Wayne Foster. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now I will hand over to whoever is in Discord and Google so you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for today's live show.
Or
Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm glad that this year I'm. Oh, Nathan's here. Hello, Nathan.
Hello.
Yo.
Good morning, everyone.
Yeah,
Morning.
Nathan can't sneak up on us that easily. That ding dong from Neil comes in pretty fast. Ding dong is when you let it on Skype that makes a noise, right? That's what I was talking about, Neil.
He doesn't know he doesn't hear the ding dong.
Yeah, I know. That's why I had to tell him.
Yes, I do. I hear it.
You do? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Okay, well, it makes no sense you should hear it because you're not connected yet, but fine if you're saying you hear it.
Every time I come in, I hear it.
Good, good. The video we need to cover today. Nice to get it queued up well in advance.
I think you should cover that one Brian put with that kid.
Don't know, a problem with a flat earth, that one.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'll bring that up.
You get to see the damage Dell, Witsit, the Shyster, and Jiren have done to Flat Earth.
Okay. Why? Because he's just attacking all their straw men.
Yep.
Fair enough. I've got him queued up. I've got a link ready for him. Jolly good.
I invited him on the show in his comments.
Oh, maybe he'll just show up, then you never know. What else has been going on? Anything exciting?
Yeah, I drove all the way from New York to Alabama, and now I'm heading back to New York tomorrow. Thrilling.
Excellent.
You said anything exciting?
I said thrilling.
Well, that's good to know.
Well, I just I don't know, enjoying the weekend, the quiet. It seems like are you still cranking out videos on the weekend?
Me? I've always cranked.
Yeah.
I keep the same time slot every single day.
Because I thought you were maybe getting busier on the weekend making these videos, these new videos. And I was like, wow, when do you get to rest, have some R&R?
Never.
Don't. Mhm. You know, even as a viewer, I remember in the past they used to do 247 videos. You were on all the time, nonstop, except for like holidays. And I was actually glad when you started taking the weekends off as a viewer. because I was getting exhausted just following you 247.
Fair enough.
So go on.
No, I'm just saying fair enough. It seems like less
Yeah.
material because it's different material. So
Yeah, because I wanted to catch up with everything and watch every video, right? And when you want to watch every video and catch up with every video, it's like you know, that's what I meant. Didn't mean it as in like, oh no, not another show I gotta
no,
watch.
but I
No,
know
I
what you're
meant it as
saying.
in
If I release
okay.
a 4-hour video on Saturday and on Sunday and 2 videos a day, that's quite a lot of material to be putting out there. So by comparison, if it's just a 1 minute, 2 minute, 5 minute, 10-minute video from Omi, you can bosh your way through that in no time and you feel like you're all caught up, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll produce more of those. I'll probably do some this evening after this show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
you rushed the Uncut after show to get on that stupid thing. I like it anyway.
Well, you just got to keep the conversation going more in the after show, otherwise I will round it out and move on to other things. It's just the way it goes.
We don't get a chance to get the conversation going. You can't wait to get on that.
You get ample chance. Don't give me that nonsense.
Did you hear what I said the other day?
What was that?
I said, Nathan, get the spike out of your arm.
Yeah, I'm hooked on doing those Amy videos. It's good fun. It's a huge amount of work, but when it's a lot of fun and the response is good, you don't mind so much. As in when you're waking, every waking hour is working. As long as you're enjoying what you're doing, that doesn't matter so much, does it?
Yeah, those reactions are priceless.
Still 99% positive, the response as well.
Yeah, I figured because it's showing another side of you. Well, it's not leaving your echo chamber, and all we do is stay over here and just repeat the same things over and over. Puts an end to all of that nonsense as well.
I don't know about putting an end to it. That's all true. I mean, we do the same things over and over and over, and intentionally so. This is an education platform from that regard. Same applies to the Amy videos. As much as people find them entertaining, they're still serving the exact same purpose.
Yes, but you're getting outside of the little community we got here, and you're reaching out to normies, and you're treating them totally different than the numpties that come here.
That's not true. I don't think it's true that I treat them differently. People only focus in on the bit where the person's interrupted 20 times. Look how angry. Yeah, yeah. Now let's see how you get on. See how quickly you get angry.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You don't get that on these videos. So you act accordingly.
I'm saying I always act accordingly. It's only at the point when our opponent does not that you see a different side of me.
Yes, that's what I'm getting at.
I mean, even when they are behaving like that, sometimes I have to retain that persona, like when I'm in public, actually physically in public.
I was saying a little FaceTime goes a long way. I think it's nice to be able to, you know, see when you're joking, see when you're being like, well, this is freaking obvious.
Yeah, well, I'm glad everyone's enjoying them. It's another string to the bow, isn't it? So, jolly good.
Oh, back to this video you're going to cover. I was thinking either people are not hearing us in QE or they're just ignoring us.
This guy's got like 20 subs.
That's it?
Okay, well, I don't know what that's all about. We'll cover it when and if Brian gets here. Was there anything else?
I can't tell you anything that happened because I was exhausted. So, what happened over the weekend? Anything exciting, righteous?
Um, for me, in my personal life, just enjoying myself.
No, I'm
That's
talking about flat Earth.
personal.
Besides you muting Georgie.
I take a break from FE weekends. I mean, I'll check, I'll voice verify people and stuff like that, but I take a break. I mean, there's more things than FE, isn't there, Neil?
Yeah, I was being sarcastic because I
Of
heard
course,
about your little muting of Georgie.
but we're here on the FE debate show, so yes, there are things outside of that. I could tell you all about my daughter's optician trip today, but I won't, because that's what we're here for.
Oh, well, Saturday was a good ball busters, even though I fell asleep through the whole thing. I re-listened.
There's also a response video in the pipeline to the Welsh guy, I've forgotten his name, Creaky something or other, Creaky Blinder.
Yeah, he's annoying, that guy. Listen to that too. I really don't have patience for that guy.
Yeah, sure, but I'm just talking about what videos are coming out. Who cares about him? He's just the subject of another video.
Yeah, but you're getting tired of getting misrepresented. It gets tiresome.
No, I find it very telling. What have they got? Have they got any responses to our arguments? No. Do they need to make it about us personally? Yeah. Well, that's telling, isn't it? Okay, make it about me if you like. Will it make you feel better about the thing we've put to you? Maybe if I stopped putting it to you, it would change what I've put to you. No, but in their idiocy, their deluded mind tells them that if the person saying it was just shut up, it would all go away. Like, well, you can believe that shooting the messenger will help, but it really doesn't. But, feel free, knock yourselves out. I'm pretty much immune to it these days, Neil. I've got very thick skin. And like I say, I just roll my eyes and I think, okay, that's non-responsive. That's all I think these days. See a comment that says something that's a personal attack on you in the comment section, you're like, that's non-responsive. As in, I don't actually care what you've said. I'm not going to even attempt to address your personal attack. The videos about there not being a sky vacuum, or there not being any earth curve, or there being measured flat angles to stars, whatever it is that we're talking about, when they do that, you're just like, well, you're just not responding to the argument, are you? And in reality, it's the other way around. That's why they're responding the way they are, because they haven't got any response to the argument. So it's easier in their mind to attack the man. Just ad hom your way through it. Okay, fair enough. That's not what we're doing.
Yeah, and that gets over on an audience too. So they know what they're doing.
Yeah, but good for them. Again, if it wasn't the case that they weren't already promoted into the YouTube algorithm, keeping people dumb, fair enough. If that's the society we live in and we need to be kept dumb by other dumb people, so it's us keeping ourselves dumb, then that's the way the world's been pushed into cycling its way through the control mechanism. I've got no part of that. We found out the truth and started telling people, and as a result, we got censored. So, we're obviously not beneficial to the control structures that are in place already, one of them being the nature of the world. Now, like I say, if you're going to brace against that because you don't want to feel like an idiot, and as a result of not wanting to feel stupid because you've been deceived, go about making yourself either into a complete idiot or just ad homing your opponent, then, like I say, it's just very telling.
Yep.
That's why I count them off. So it doesn't matter if it's either in a comment section or a response to an argument that's been made multiple times or an individual that's here and now on the show. When they can't overcome a point that we've put to them or they've put to us and we've responded to, I'll count off how many times it's been put to them and how many times they've failed to overcome it.
Well, the jig is up anyway after December, so we better all find a new thing to do.
Ryan's right about that. His notion that it's just there to handwave the last 10 years. Yeah, it is. The cursory glances at a new will come along after December, and whatever it's spun into their advantage, the general masses will just be told, yeah, this proves that we're on a globe. This disproves flat Earth. And they'll go, oh, right, okay, well, wonderful, and go about their day. It's the same thing. Okay, so you're being kept dumb by Netflix or whoever. Doesn't matter. You're being kept dumb. We're trying to help you and you slap us in the face for it. That's your bag. My skin's just got thicker. That's all that's happened. The arguments haven't changed. Nothing's changed. The world hasn't changed. It's still flat. It always will be. No matter bracing against individuals like me is ever going to change that. These dumbos think that it'll help relieve their pain if they attack me as an individual or anybody else that's putting these arguments they can't overcome to them. And they're wrong. It'll just make their pain worse. They don't know it. But they're idiots, so why would they know it?
Yeah, and you can't get around the fact that it's measured flat. I mean, that's just a nail in a coffin.
Right.
There's nothing you can come back with.
Yep. So, it's been game over for a long time. The guys that are totally indoctrinated and entrenched in it in an anti-flat earth manner do seek the vitriol that they perpetuate against us because, like I say, they feel it will resolve their pain. Well, they're just wrong. If we all disappeared tomorrow, their pain would still be there. Take it out on someone else for a different reason.
So you want to hear something funny?
Go on.
I hear a big commotion going on in my son's room. I get out, and my other son comes in and goes, "There's a big bug in Jacob's room." So I go in there. It's a freaking bat, Nathan. So the freaking thing, it was on his controller by his game. He was eating cereal, and he seen it, and he went to hit it, and the thing just started flying all over the room. It was a freaking bat.
Okay.
But I think what happened was it hit the ceiling fan and knocked it out. Because when I went in there, I'm looking at this thing and I couldn't tell what it was because it just looked like a rectangular, I don't know what. So I whacked it with the broom and then I realized
Why?
this is a freaking bat.
Why'd you whack it?
Well, I don't want the freaking thing going after me. I don't know what it is.
It's so harmless.
It was already dead.
My folks' building was like, I don't know, 300, 400, 500 years old, ludicrously old, to the point where the stone steps had worn down in an arch shape where people had walked up and down them for hundreds of years. And in their roof, they had bats. And they weren't legally allowed to get rid of them. They had to remain because that's their home, right? So occasionally they'd get into the actual main body of the house and they were adorable. They're so cute.
Are you
Little
freaking
tiny little
kidding
cute
me?
little faces. Bats are really cute.
Oh my God, there's something wrong with you, Nathan. I don't want that sucker nowhere near me.
Oh, sucker.
Didn't
It
you
looks
ever
like a
see
little
Cujo?
mouse. It looks like a really cute mouse just with wings.
Well, I find it kind of weird that they got the new Batman video game or something that same day, and a bat appears in the house.
Oh, whatever. I can't believe you hit it with a broom. Like,
It was already dead.
it was already
I
dead.
couldn't.
Oh, if
Yeah,
it was
because
already dead.
when it flew, when my son went to whack it because he thought it was a bug, and it flew up and hit the ceiling fan. So I think the ceiling fan crippled it.
Fair enough. Whatever.
But when I went in there, I saw cereal all over the place, and I'm just thinking, what a shock that must have been to my son. All of a sudden, the bug starts flying all over the room.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Hello, Apocryphon.
Hey, I just did 6 hours over in a space X. You know, they have the little live streams. But I thought about you guys. Like, you should totally. I know you got so much stuff already going on, but you should like simultaneously broadcast this as a space just for people to listen to.
Nah, I'm good.
Okay.
They shot me
There's a
off
lot
in
of
a
people
rocket
out there.
last time I was there.
Got you up in a
What
rocket.
happened?
They got this thing where if they discover that something that you say, if they realize you're a flat earther, there's this thing where they shoot you off and time you out in a rocket. It's like a rocket goes off, and I'm thinking it's the same place.
Excuse me. Good morning, gentlemen. Hope everybody had
Morning,
a
Mush.
great weekend. Just wondering, do you guys, Nathan, is there a video to cover for today? I just found something that could be very interesting.
Yeah. Stick it in. We have got a video, but I'm more than happy to have a couple lined up.
All right. This guy's called Thunderfoot, has 1.6, no, actually 1.06 million subscribers, over a
We
million.
know Thunderfoot.
Yeah, I was thinking it sounds familiar. I don't, but it
Yeah,
sounds
where do you
familiar.
think gas go down, go boom boom came from?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, this one, it says, making flat earthers cry, measuring size of the earth for less than $100.
Oh,
I'll share
Oh,
it.
okay. We'll have a
I'll
look.
share it right now. Yeah. Hold on a second.
this is going to be interesting. He's going to address measurements.
Let's see what he's got.
At least somebody's listening.
You're putting it in Master B. Push.
Mush.
He's probably disappeared off the app to share it, so he can't come on off mute to tell us. Yeah, I'm just about to share it. Okay, we got it.
Okay, yeah, sorry, man. Like, I'm saying bye to my brother. Yo, he was here over the weekend. He's literally leaving right now. So I'll be another minute or two. But the video's in Skype, Nathan.
Yeah, I got it. Thanks. Right, so we've got a couple of videos queued up. Jolly good.
You're not going to play a few seconds to hear how it sounds?
Oh, so I'm on vacation, and it suddenly occurs to me I spent almost all of my life on this spinning rock, and I've never yet measured how big it is. But I don't want to spend a lot of money or time, so let's see if I can do it in, say, less than a day, and for less than $100.
Sounds right. Let's see what the other guy sounds like too.
Where's he going? Aratoxines?
Well, but I love conspiracy theories. Not because I
Yeah, that sounds fine too. Which one do you want to cover first?
Now I'm interested in Thunderclown.
Okay. Hey, Craig. Okay then.
That's why his name is Click OK. At least he's at least he comes into G Plus all the time. The other people are not showing up late, getting very sloppy.
Yeah, Craig. He's probably run away into the shop as soon as he's connected.
Good afternoon, guys.
How's it going?
I wonder how much I wonder how much it's going to cost a protractor to measure the Earth. $100.
And we don't know what he's doing yet. We'll see.
Well, I could tell you right from Jump Street, whatever he does, he's going to be using a flat Earth.
No, he might just beg the question. You never know. He's already opened by begging the question, you realise?
Yeah,
Oh,
because
yeah.
he's claiming that he's on a spinning rock for all these years.
Right, so he's automatically assuming the outcome.
It's intentionally done. I know you know that.
Yeah, but they don't
Was
know
he
they're
climbing
doing
a
it.
mountain? Was he climbing a mountain by any chance? It sounded like it.
We don't know what he's doing yet. What we do know is he's automatically begging the question that he's going to be measuring sphericity on a rock that he's spinning around on, because he's already stated what he's going to be doing. I'm automatically assuming that I'm measuring a rock I'm standing on that's spinning around. Okay. Do you know it's a rock that's spinning around that's spherical before you start measuring anything? Oh, you're just automatically assuming that. So before we've even started the video, in his opening sentence, he's begged the question.
Seems to me like he's going to do an Alberuni thing, climb the mountain and do the depression angle. Something down those lines. We'll see.
We'll see. Lots of people guessing what he's going to do. We don't know yet. Hopefully Brian will show up and then we can cover his video first. Or the video he's suggested, at least, if you know what I mean. The one that Brian suggested. I don't know.
Yeah.
The problem with the flat Earth is the title. I haven't watched either of these videos, so I don't know what either of them are about yet.
Well, maybe it'd be nice to get back to, just doing the normal.
What's doing the normal?
Well, this year it's been watching other people's videos.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Like it's not a criticism. I like it. I'm just in the last couple months we've been been doing the Omi thing, and that's been fun. But there are many ways to do this, and it's always good to remember that there's always the videos out there that people are watching that are like we're crying. Am I crying? I don't know if I'm crying. I don't think I'm crying.
Having done it for 10 years, there's nothing new under the sun as far as I can see. I'd be very surprised if this is unique.
Absolutely, that's what I'm feeling.
That's all right. I quite
Must
like
be nice
responding.
to kind of be. Oh, go ahead. My bad.
No, you go ahead. I'm just filling the dead air.
I was just saying it must be nice to get to go on neutral, to go on autopilot or what's that? What is it? Autopilot, the one that's you constant
Cruise
speed cruise
control.
control. Thank you, Neil. Thank you.
I kind of think I know what you mean. You mean once the show goes live, it's a bit like a pilot getting the takeoff or landing out of the way.
Well, you're like a fine-tuned machine, and the arguments they don't change. They all come down to the same things. Levels flat, gas bill, space, and it all, you know exactly how to get it back to that area, and that works out to our favor.
Well, we'll
So it
see.
must be nice for you to just chill out and do it.
Doing it isn't chilling out, but we'll see if I can accommodate what you seem to be suggesting, which is by getting you guys to pick floor with the Thunderfoot video. I would imagine this is going to be fairly standard fare, mainstream rhetoric. So I'm going to encourage you guys in Discord. You're all up for this?
Yes, and I know what he's talking about. But Nathan, you just make it seem like it's easy and you're on cruise control. But that's you. That's just your gift.
Pretty
Okay.
much it, yeah.
Right, I got you. So what you're saying is it looks like a Bentley going past on the motorway at 100 miles an hour. It's just breezing on by. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you make it
And I
appear that way.
imagine I can get to 110 too.
Sure. But underneath the bonnet, lots of things are whirring and buzzing, aren't they? Things are getting burned. There's explosions happening. You know what I'm saying?
But it looks good going down the road.
Yeah, to the untrained eye, it's just a blob of metal serenely, swiftly going by. But in reality, there's lots of explosions and pistons moving up and down.
A lot of moving parts.
Yes, that's exactly right. But I'll take it as a massive compliment. If it looks like it's easy, then I'm doing a good job. Good. I'm glad it looks that way.
That's how it's meant, but I'm not trying to compliment too much, you know.
No, I didn't get the impression that you were just trying to kiss my ass. Yeah. I still take it as a massive compliment. If you're saying things look like they're just cruising on autopilot, then good.
It's not even a compliment. It's obvious.
Not really. Go back to the early shows and watch how disjointed everybody was.
Yeah, but we're not talking about the early shows. We're talking about how things appear now.
I don't know. The early shows are definitely getting discussed. The guys on the final experiment fraud are going back 10 years in my back catalogue to find the information they want and the words I want to be saying.
Oh, yeah, going to Robert Shortman videos and pulling up that nonsense. Yeah, but that's all I got.
I haven't got anything. There's nothing to have from that. Need to attack it because the guy's saying, yeah, there isn't a 24-hour sun. They're saying there is. Okay. So they say the guy's just lying. That's their excuse. Okay. Well, you can suggest that he's lying. As far as I'm concerned, yeah, he could be. Still first-hand testimony of a guy that's been down there. Take it or leave it. You know, I don't care either way. You're like, I'll leave it, thanks. I don't trust him. Well, that's why you guys want to go down there, don't you? Fair enough. Good for you. Let us know how you get on when you affirm the consequent. When you assume that you've got to the bottom of a ball. Let us know how you get on at the bottom of that ball that you've assumed you get into the bottom of. And then you'll look and see if the sun does something, of course. But like Thunderfoot just did, they're just assuming they're on a ball at the outset. Well, okay, that's fallacious. That's it. That's the end of it.
So they're flying to Antarctica on a level flight, and somehow it translates to a ball. I don't get it. Sorry.
No, there is nothing to get. The maps and models they'll be using will also be derived with flat Earth measurements of angles to stars at the origin of their systems that they use to get there. Flat. Where in unholy hell is there actually a ball in that? There isn't, is the answer. So, okay, well, on you go. When you get down there, I'll go, all right, how do you know you're on the bottom of a ball? Because you're not proving it. Oh, well, it matches the model. Well, that came from a flat Earth too now, didn't it?
Yeah, because the destination, I'm sure, is somewhere on the chart with longitude and latitude. X marks the spot. This is your destination. You're going to land there. That is already proof of flat Earth.
Yep. Nothing else needs to be done. We've already pointed this out. And we've pointed out how fallacious their logic is in terms of their suggested proof that they think they're going to get when they may or may not see and observe phenomena after assuming antipodal positioning. That's it. There's nothing else to this. It'll never change.
I think that's what I meant by the autopilot.
Let's get it on.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Let's rattle our way through a few housekeeping questions. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
No way. Gonna need a flat earth anyway for that. If you want to claim a distance.
Any scientific evidence of gravity?
Now, gravity is just a concept. The bending of space-time, just a concept. Pseudo-Romanian force space concept.
Fine. Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
Negative.
Not physics.
They're not physics, no. That's the best answer yet. They're not physics. No. So they're not, therefore not science.
Yeah, in one word, not science, not physics.
So in essence, it's a malformed question that there's no possibility of them providing scientific evidence from those fields, given that they're all pseudoscience.
Plenty of phenomena, though.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, they've got step one. You can go and observe the sun doing things. That's a phenomena. Of course, ascertaining the cause of that phenomena would require you to apply the scientific method. That is to say, presume a cause of the effect, establish that with a null hypothesis alongside it, and then actualize that hypothesis by varying that which you assume has caused the effect you are studying. That's the scientific method. That's what you would apply if they weren't pseudoscience, just leaning on the name science. Like our friends at the final experiment, leaning on the word experiment. What, hypothesis actualization? Definitely not. Fraud. To be absolutely clear about what they are pulling. Fraud.
Yeah, they think that systematic experimentation is the same as peer review.
No.
No, it's not.
No, you just vary that which you assume caused the effect you're studying. For example, if you observe a 24-hour sun, if that's your phenomena, then you'd need to put that into a hypothesis with a presumed cause of that effect, which you will vary systematically to either confirm it as the proven cause of the effect or validate a null, not the cause of the effect. That's what you do when you perform an experiment. Unless you're a fraudster, then you'll just call it an experiment, and then if anybody's got an issue with it, perhaps change the name to expedition, like fraudsters do. But there we go. We've got people in our community that are committing fraud. We just call it out where we see it. It's highly unlikely anything detrimental will happen to these fraudsters, but it is fraud, and we'll call it what it is. Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere-edge horizon, formerly known as the curve of the Earth?
Negative. The horizon is horizontal by definition. No, there is no curvature.
Evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety, of course.
You're going to need art for that.
Any evidence of the R
And a flat
value?
plane.
Earth radius.
You're going to need a flat earth for that. You need to have an elevation angle to drive a radius value for your circle of equal altitude. That's how the Earth is measured.
Can anyone say foreshadowing? Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
You're going to need art for that and a flat plane.
Okay. Any evidence you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container to press upon?
You mean
No,
that gradient that
that's
starts at
fake.
14.7 psi at sea level? No. We don't have evidence of a sky vacuum. Gas pressure requires a container.
Okay, then. Nice that we've rattled our way through all the housekeeping questions. Was there a couple that someone wanted to expand on? Because I had a couple of interruptions while George was giving off the concise answers. Thank you, George.
Oh no, I was just saying gas fills space, and he said it way better.
Yeah, gas does fill space. It expands in all directions into whatever volume it has available to it. It's a law of nature, the second law of thermodynamics. Okay, let's. How many people we got watching currently? Is there enough to do a little straw poll? Not really. 41 watching. The regulars who smashed the share button haven't smashed the share button yet. Please share the show. We're going to pick a video, but we're going to pick the lesser of the two videos. That is to say, lesser in terms of subscriber count at the very least. And this is a guy called Arav. Am I saying that? A-A-R-A-V. Dabini. I hope I'm saying your name right. If I've butchered it, I'm really sorry. So check this guy out. I'm going to put a link to his video in the live stream chat. So please let him know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me with a polite comment that won't immediately trigger the YouTube censorship algorithm to remove your comment, but just make him aware that we've been covering his video for whatever reason. This has been provided to us by the illustrious Brian's Logic, and he wasn't exactly complimentary about the reason for sharing it. That I will not repeat. Gives me a general idea about what I might be dealing with, that's for sure. Thank you, Brian. He might toddle along if he sees that we're covering this. He might not. We'll see how we get on. But in the meantime, that's hopefully given people in the audience at least a few seconds to toddle along to this person. And I do positively encourage that you perhaps throw him a subscribe. The guy's very, very new. And judging by the 5 seconds of video that I've watched, he has at the very least put some effort into making sure his sound's good. He's got some decent music, which is at a reasonable level. So given that he's got at least a reasonable amount of effort behind the videography, I would suggest that, given he's quite a young bloke, I don't know, actually, when he's Eastern, it's hard to tell their age. So I don't know how old this guy is. He looks young to me. He might not be. But either way, he's definitely a new videographer or a young videographer in that regard. Please chuck him a subscribe. Let him know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. Think I've bought enough time for the audience to do that and come back again? As I say, I have put a link to this in the live stream chat, so you can see that whizzing its way by now. The idea being, should this guy make a response video to us, he'd do the same for us. Small or large, we appreciate any assistance in growing our channels. I'm sure he'd be absolutely in alignment with this idea that I, with a larger channel, would be sending audience members his way to like his video and leave him comments and build him up in the YouTube algorithm. So hopefully he'd do the same for me when he inevitably, if he's an anti-flat earther, snags the algorithm and outgrows me in 3 months, as is often the case. So there we go. I have definitely bought enough time for people to have toddled along. Let him know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. Encourage him to hopefully do the same if he was to make a response and come back and watch us actually respond to him. So let's get into it, unless anybody's got any comments before we start. No, then we shall carry on.
I believe in them, but because I like to watch people rant on about something they actually believe in, but the rest of the world is against them. So I found this pretty big conspiracy theory lately. It's called the Flat Earth Conspiracy. You've probably heard about it before. Now, how many people do you believe are in this community? Just take a guess.
Who cares? That's an appeal to consensus fallacy. How many people are in the community is irrelevant. It wouldn't matter if it was just me.
You're not going to get anywhere, Cliss. You ready? It's 162 million people.
You have absolutely no idea how many flat earthers there are, neither do I, and anybody that suggests they've garnered statistics to suggest that they know how many flat earthers there are either lying, deceiving, or cooking the books. You don't know, I don't know, nobody here knows. This is garbage.
That's right, that's how many people believe the Earth is flat. So today, I'm going to try to prove them wrong. I'm going to take 3 of their main underlying theories and try to debunk them with science.
There won't be theories, that's a category error. Theory comes after experimentation, right? You're in a category error. Now, you're going to address 3 commonly held, that's stereotyping fallacies that you're going to be dealing with then.
As much as I know anyway. So let's get started. Alright, so first off, we're going to talk about how the flat earthers explain gravity.
So how flat earthers explain something that they don't have an argument for. So how flat earthers react when globe earthers flip the burden and ask them, who don't have a claim in this regard, to explain an aspect of your religious belief you were taught in school. This has absolutely nothing to do with me and everything to do with you and your own religion of heliocentrism. And either the Newtonian or Einsteinian gravity. We'll find out which of those two you ascribe to when you claim that I should be explaining it as a flat earther with the stereotyping fallacy, after appealing to consensus. This is absolutely pathetic, son.
After looking into it, I found that they don't. What I mean by that is they don't believe in gravity. I'm kind of unsure what they do believe in because
Who gives a crap what we believe in? We're in a category error again. No, Earth is measured flat. That requires absolutely zero belief. It doesn't require I explain your belief in gravity, or that you should be shocked that I don't express a belief in what you bleeding believe in. This is your belief. So you need to square this circle of your belief about a bent pseudo-Riemannian fourth dimensional space-time, alternatively, depending on your education status, the downward force you were taught in high school. Now, we'll find out which shortly, I'm sure, but what you believe in is inconsequential to me as someone who knows Earth's measured flat. Let's get that out of the way.
because there's no real textbook on the flat Earth, but there are two main...
Oh, is there not? Try looking at celestial navigation. Try looking at how all your maps made. Try looking at how your globe came to exist. See those lines wrapped around them? Where do you think they came from? There's no textbook on the flat Earth. Yeah, try every measurement of everything always.
theories that they rely on. In the first
No, we don't rely on any theory. It's a category error. This isn't a scientific subject.
theory, they try to replace gravity with density.
Do we? We haven't replaced anything. There's no burden on us to do anything. I'm not proving a flat Earth with density by your stereotype. No, what you're doing is flipping the burden because you've got a non-force force that you have been given permission to think of as a force that holds you to a ball flying through a sky vacuum. And I need to explain something about this with density by your stereotype, do I? Au contraire.
They say that less dense objects go upwards, and
Why are we proving a flat Earth when we by stereotype say this, according to you? What are we proving with this? It's just an outrageous echo chamber burden of proof reversal fallacy. You haven't even got an opponent saying this. So it's also a straw man. How many fallacies do you think you've committed so far, son? I estimate about 10.
and more dense objects fall downwards. For example, the gas helium.
Downwards? Helium? What the holy hell? To have a downward vector in the first place, you'd need a horizontal plane of reference to describe down with. You'll need a flat Earth for this description, son. What are you going to describe down with respect to? A bleeding ball? Dum-dum? You'll need a flat Earth for this description. You can't use the word down. I think what you meant in your religious zealotry was in. In towards your ball that has no plane of reference for up or down. Like in space where they say there's no up and down. Well, your ball doesn't have an up and down. You'd need a flat Earth for it. We absolutely reference it as part of our everyday existence because Earth is flat. And we reference it flat. And you'll be describing it that way from here on forward. You already have. Down with respect to what? Flat Earth required, son.
It's used in balloons, and because of its relatively small density, it goes up. Unlike
Sorry, gas going up is not a force of down then, is it, son? So already you've undone your stupid fundamentalist religious zealotry that we've got a force of down holding us to the ground. So this gas, trapped in a container, is going up. Yeah, it is, son. So definitely not going down, go boom boom, as would be asserted by idiot clowns like Thunderfoot. No, gas doesn't go down. It expands in all directions and is produced at ground level.
a metal, which falls. But what the flat earthers don't seem to get is that this happens because of gravity.
Sorry, is that down? Sorry, it seems like you're pointing to the top of a single point on a ball. That's not a downward reference, son. Are you not going to get down from this? Yeah? What are these squares that you've got in the background? Are they horizontal plane of reference that you're using that's not the ball? Yeah, they are. Yeah, you'll need them with respect to the ground that you'll be describing, though, won't you? Because that's what's being described. How gas disperses away from the ground. So you can't just slap a square grid in the background so that you can have down. You'll need a horizontal plane of reference. Your ball doesn't have that, clown shoes. You got a cartoon on top of something that's useful mathematically. That's your square grid.
Gravity. Without gravity, density doesn't matter.
So what are you babbling about? Gravity is a bent pseudo-Riemannian space-time. It's an invented dimension. You think that has any bearing on gas dispersion? That's a law of nature, you clown. Go and look up the second law of thermodynamics, you complete imbecile.
Unlike gravity, density is not a force.
Sorry, gravity's not a force. Is this a joke? Is it how many things can I get wrong in under 90 seconds?
It's just a measurement of how much of something there is inside of a specific amount of volume.
Right, like you'd need to measure the volume of something when it comes to gas. You'd have a volume that would be under containment to measure the volume and have something to press on. So already, in just over 90 seconds, he's managed to obliterate 90% of his own worldview. He's using a horizontal plane of reference to describe downward. And he's got gas filling space and needing containment for volume. Yeah, well done. Welcome to Flat Earth. Space is fake. 90 seconds and you've affirmed 90% of our position and undone all of yours. Well done.
This is the equation for density, and as you can see, the more mass there is in a set volume, the more dense an object is, and vice versa. So without gravity, density isn't going to manipulate anything. It's not...
Sorry, where did gravity come into that? What the hell are you babbling about? Did you describe where bent space-time caused any of what you just described? Oh, it's a begging the question fallacy. So I'll describe everything and not mention gravity once when describing the apportionment of mass in a volume. And now it's just as a causal influence of gravity. Which one? You haven't even told us which one you're using, son.
Not a force, it's just a measurement.
Sorry, you think not a force, just a measurement? A bent pseudo-Riemannian space-time dimension's not a measurement, son. It's conceptual. What are we measuring? Maybe you could show me the measurement of this conceptual pseudo-bent space-time. No, you won't be doing that, son. It's not a measurement, it's not a force, and it's got sod all to do with anything I claim.
Think of it this way.
Why? Why are we thinking anything? This is a straw man. You're telling us this is a response to how flat earthers believe things. This is supposed to be under the title of a problem with flat earth. So far, we've got your fundamentalist zealotry religious belief on gravity, which you haven't defined yet. We don't even know which one you're implying.
A pencil won't do your homework for you if it's there.
Well, that's profound.
A pencil will help you do the homework.
Will it? Oh, pencil, can you give me a hand? I need to know my maths homework. Yeah, that's pegged how old you are.
And if the pencil is better, then you can maybe do the homework faster.
Really? What, as in it won't break and need sharpening over and over again? How profound.
And if it's not there at all, then you won't be able to finish your homework.
And if there's no bent pseudo-Riemannian space-time that you can show me, this gravity nonsense you've assumed is completely undone. Yeah, we did that 10 years ago. There is no bent pseudo-Riemannian space-time invented in the mind's eye of a man named Einstein. It was just invented in the mind's eye of a man named Einstein.
It's the same thing with density and gravity. Now,
oh, really? Well, can you show it us then, son? Show us some gravity. Let's have a look.
their second theory is quite a bit different.
Oh, we're moving on before we've proven the gravity that you're assuming in your religious zealotry because you were taught it in high school when doing your homework. No, we're going to need a much higher standard than that, son. You're going to need to show it us. Yeah? And when you drop your pencil, we'll point out that that's 109 years out of date Newtonian garbage that they brainwashed you in high school with. The people of a higher education in what they thought was science would have been taught about bent pseudo-Riemannian space-time dimension. From Einstein, son. I mean, it's only been in place for 109 years, but we wouldn't expect you to research beyond what you were already taught in high school when you're worrying about how well your pencil works.
Different than their first one. The Earth is traveling upwards.
Is it? Says who? You'll need a horizontal plane of reference to describe the upward respect of what? No, mate, this is garbage. So you're strawmanning us with Earth that moves up. Here we go. This is Einstein. This is the equivalence principle. He doesn't know his own stupid religion, does he? He tells us. This is what flat earthers think. Einstein much? Oh, no, you're a high school graduate only. If that. Because you haven't reached the stage where they tell you that, no, all that Newtonian crap that we lied to you about in high school, it's not a force.
Accelerating at a speed of 21 miles per hour square, or 35 kilometers an hour square. That means that the Earth's speed would increase by 21 kilometers an hour every hour.
Who says this? Hands up anybody on the panel that ascribes to this strawman garbage you got from the Flat Earth Society / Einstein. Nobody. Your stereotype fails miserably.
Okay, that doesn't seem that fast, but let's calculate how fast the Earth would be moving.
Why? Where are we calculating this from? What measurements are you taking? Precisely what is this based on? In natural terms. Where have we got this in terms of what we're studying in regards to Earth? What are we calculating? We don't even know if we're calculating Newtonian downward biases or bent fourth dimensional vectors. What are we doing? We doing geodesics or downward forces, son? Do you know? You haven't told us. You're just ignorant, clearly.
If it was accelerating all this time. So
If what was accelerating? Earth moving up? Nobody's claiming that here, son. This is Einsteinian equivalence principle dressed up as flat earthism.
the equation to find out speed is distance by time. But since we don't really have distance, we can use the formula v equals to a multiplied by t. A is the acceleration and t is the time. We know the values of both of these. So the calculation comes out to a total of 162.3 billion kilometers an hour, or 150 times the speed of light.
Where'd you get the speed of light from? Would that be an hour-based derivation that was measured with respect to a flat plane to get the hour in the first instance? Oh, how little you know about the rhetoric you utilise. You're going to need a flat Earth to get an hour value to extrapolate out light speed. Clearly unaware of this more advanced concept created in the Einsteinian area when you think it's a downward force, because you keep saying it. Yet meanwhile, mate, you're completely ignorant of what you're actually utilising. It would be a flat Earth measurement in the first instance that gives you this derivation.
Turns out that they actually believe that everything is accelerating upwards this fast. So the entire universe...
Total lie, stereotype fallacy, failed on its arse. We've already done the straw poll. Nobody agreed with you. We do not think this. You are scum. Just a lying little shit. Out to lie about what people don't say by stereotype. In your little echo chamber with nobody to respond to. So you're just going to make up what we say. Well, what do you know? I'm sending my audience to tell you we've responded to you and your stupid glurf nature, where you affirm your zealot beliefs with the use of flat Earth measurements. Nothing's new. Hey, TVH, thank you for the super chat. Hello, Nathan. Your reaction videos are very funny and hilarious. Comedy gold. Oh, well, thank you very much. I think you're referring to the Omi videos. I like doing them. They're a lot of work. You end up spending 10, 15, maybe even 20 minutes with an individual, and you get about a minute and a half of material out of that one person. And to get to that one person, you'll spend an hour flicking through loads and loads of people. So in a 4-hour session, you might get 4 people, and one video might be 8 minutes, one might be 3, one might be a minute and a half. And like I say, you've spent, on the most part, some of them just come and go within the edited period, but for the most part, you're spending a long time to get that material. But because it's so much fun, I don't mind, the time just disappears. The only commodity I've got left. But it's good, I'm glad you're enjoying it. Thank you for the super chat.
The universe is moving 150 times the speed of light. They also try to explain the acceleration of the Earth with something called the Pauli exclusion principle.
Anybody heard of the Pauli exclusion principle? Who's explaining this? Come on, admit it. He stereotyped all of us with this shit. Who said this? Must be one of you. Come on, admit it. Who's saying this?
No one.
Is it just me, or is this little sod lying about us? Why are you lying about us, you little sod? Just gotta make it up, right?
This is just essentially a law for electrons, which, by the way, doesn't explain their theory at all.
You haven't told us what theory. Theory's a category error. This isn't science. And you've just done nothing but strawman us with your own stupid arguments that fail. Nothing you have presented thus far has any iota of clarity when it comes to flat Earth. Nothing you've said makes any sense to do with what I claim. What I've done is taken some of your positional information for your light speed and your gravity and extracted out an R value that you need to derive from a flat plane to create things like light speed. That's what I'm doing. I'm taking your argument. None of these are my arguments that you're responding to. They're your own stupid glurf beliefs. Dressed up as like that, how we believe your beliefs should work. What an idiot. Recognise the difference between what I say, Earth's measured flat. Deal with that. Not how I respond to your zealotry when it comes to your religious belief in gravity. That's nothing to do with flat Earth.
What I think these flat earthers are doing is taking different concepts and putting them together and trying to make sense out of something that's impossible.
What, like, kind of like you're doing when you're suggesting that this is what we should or shouldn't be responding to, and it's all of the lack of understanding of gravity that's not a force. This is your projection now. This is what you're doing.
They also have an entirely different theory for relativity. You know, how space...
Notice I'm not stereotyping this little lad. Yeah, I'm not drawing conclusions about how he looks, the colour of his skin, the style of his hair, the type of clothes he's wearing, the backdrop, and the cheap acoustic material he's using. I'm not casting any aspersions. I'm just drawing attention to the facts based on what he actually says, and based on the fact it is very cheap acoustic material he's got behind him. Now, those are facts. I'm not looking at you and suddenly becoming very racist. That's what you're doing to me. And it outrages me that this little sod can produce a video and just make crap up about me. How dare you? I'm not doing it to you. So what makes you think you've got the right to just make a video and just make all of this shit up? I haven't said any of this. How dare you, insolent little prick?
Space-time curves. They call it the electromagnetic accelerator, or EA for short. And what they're doing here is explaining relativity with...
Who? They? Flat earthers, because that's what you've titled this, and that's the entire stereotype. Okay, got to do it again. Who's doing that? Hands up. Who's proving flat earth with electrons? Who's doing it?
What's it?
That's not me. That's none of us. So why isn't he addressing it to the... Go on, Neil.
It doesn't matter, because when they come out as flat earthers saying they got an answer for gravity and start talking about dielectric acceleration, it reflects on all of us. Dealt with his upward accelerating Earth, it reflects on all of us.
Okay. Well, you can address your concerns with an individual who says the Earth's rising up to them. If this is because Witsit says, then address it to Witsit. If that's who you've got this from. If it's not, if it's from someone else, address it to them. But when you address it by stereotype to us, they, meaning flat earthers, that's me. And you will get the sharp end of my tongue. Like I say, you'd be outraged if I suddenly started making assumptions about what you are based on what your race is. Or what you're dressed like, or how you have cut your hair. If I started making assumptions that were derogatory about you, you'd be pretty pissed. Yeah? Now, the rest of society has got the government mollycoddle, haven't they? If you're in some protected group, then you can't say nasty things about them. But if you're a flat earther, oh, it's free for all. Do what you like. Yeah, no limits. Feel free. Yeah, you want to make crap up that they don't say? Just make it up as you go along. In fact, if it's you and your lack of comprehension about your own bleeding religion, you can make a video, title it Flat Earthers, and tell your audience about how stupid Flat Earthers are when it comes to your, as the videographer, comprehension of your religion in a globe that's derived from Flat Earth measurements. Those are things I say as a Flat Earther. I wouldn't expect you to stereotype every Flat Earther based on that. It's what I say. You can challenge me. Now, if somebody happens to pick up on it and verify it and go out and repeat it, then they take the ownership of that argument also. As I hope many would do, as we have the absolute cutting-edge best flat earth arguments there are. I hope plenty of people repeat them, and they do. It doesn't mean you can stereotype us. It's akin to racism. You wouldn't be very happy if I did it to you. It's protected by government. But what? Because we're not, you're allowed to do it? No.
Electromagnetism. What they say is that the Earth's magnetic fields causes space-time to bend and
No, that's Einstein says space-time bends.
everything. That's a fun way to explain it, but it doesn't.
It's Einstein's way of explaining it. You're pigeonholing. This is so infuriating. I am a flat earther. I do not say this. Space-time, what pseudo-Riemannian force space, the thing I criticised this entire time, as being his religion of his gravity, that he doesn't seem to comprehend yet, based on his high school understanding thus far. No, he doesn't. But now suddenly Einstein's concepts are what flat earthers think. I don't do that. I am a flat earther, and so's everybody here. Nobody's taking this on board as theirs. That's because it's not.
Doesn't make sense at all. Let's move on to the other.
So when you have it put forth to you as Einsteinian gravity, which you obviously haven't learned, pathetic little man, you don't know that Einsteinian gravity is a fourth-dimensional bent space-time like you just described. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. But what, suddenly when you're taught it at a higher education level, it will because it's told to you as being real? When Einstein says it will be, won't it, son, when you look it up after the fact? That's exactly what Einstein says, mate.
The topic. Now let's discuss how the flat earthers describe the sun and the moon. This is where...
Really? Hands up, who here knows what the moon is? Hands up, who knows what the sun is?
do.
We never ever describe anything with the sun and the moon when we are speaking about flat Earth.
We utilize
Lights in the sky.
we utilize the lights in the sky for angle measurements with respect to the plane that developed our maps and models.
Navigation.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, for the celestial navigation. In a sense, what we are thinking about the sun and the moon, we don't think anything. But only for the celestial navigation, yes, it's used.
Yeah, exactly.
You asked if anybody knows what the sun and the moon are. I do. They're lights in the sky.
Lights
End
that,
the story.
yeah, lights that are very useful when referenced for their angle measurements off a flat Earth. That's how all the maps and models are created. But what we're going to get is that because that's what we say just before we get the straw man about what he says we say, which will undoubtedly infuriate me.
Where it gets wacky for the flat Earth community.
Really? I've just talked about celestial navigation and angle measurements, so I'm absolutely assured that this is not going to be what's being represented here when he stereotypes all of us with something that won't be what we claim about these lights in the sky, and how every model, including his own globe, came from those angle measurements.
They believe that the sun and the moon are similar-sized objects, both following a circular path around the Earth.
This is an azimuthal equidistant projection with physical lights above them at set distances. I absolutely, unequivocally do not ascribe to this in any way, shape, or form. Meanwhile, I will describe how that azimuthal equidistant projection came to fruition after a cone-shaped cylindrical projection off a globe was made with both North and South territories represented on one flat plane disk. After projecting flat plane elevation angle measurements onto a globe to have it with that cone-shaped cylindrical projection to come from. So the origin measurement of this globe Earth projection that you say flat earthers believe in, well, you obviously don't know the history of what you put on screen, son. Because it's not a flat Earth model. It's a globe projection. But the globe it was projected from came from flat Earth elevation angle measurements of the stars. The same stars you've now got a fixed distance in this garbage I don't ascribe to.
Just above the atmosphere.
Just imagine, by comparison, I started to describe what all Muslims did. I think they'd be outraged, don't you?
There's already so much wrong with this, but let's start...
Yeah, you're not bloody kidding. It's not what I say, and I'm a flat earther that you've stereotyped with this. So I'm furious. No, don't say this.
Oh. First of all, they just deny that the sun ever sets.
Do we? Oh my God! You lying little sod! Let's do a quick straw poll. Let's take a calm, deep breath. Who here denies that the sun sets? A room full of flat earthers right now, son. Let's just see if your bullshit stacks up. Who denies full of sunsets? Come on, this lad's got an idea of that from somewhere. Come on, admit it. No, is it just that he's a lying little glurf sod that just makes stuff up that we don't actually say? No, nobody's here denying sunsets.
They try to explain it with mountains, but...
Do we? What would we be explaining it for? With mountains, you say? No, elevation angle measurements with respect to the sun and other luminaries are used to create maps and models that turn into globes that then turn into azimuthal, equidistant globe projections. It seems that you don't have the slightest clue what you're talking about, son. I'm going to pause here for a moment and maybe catch my cool, as it's Brian that suggested I cover this. Clearly you knew the reaction you'd get. Well done, good choice. Oh no, is he here, Brian? Why are you on my thumbnail? Brian?
You hear me?
Yeah, but you're on my thumbnail. What's all that about?
I have no idea. I just joined on the link.
Oh, very strange. Okay, well, something's gone a bit squirrely with G+, because it's put you on my thumbnail, so There
you
we
want
go.
me to drop and rejoin?
No, you sound perfect, so don't worry about it. What I did want to find out is why you suggested this, although I already know the answer.
Is this a video that's 8 minutes long?
That doesn't really clarify why you'd want to be covering it. There's plenty of 8-minute videos out there.
No, because there's another video in Master B that I didn't recommend. I just found it randomly, and I knew that would be something that would annoy you. I haven't even watched it.
Oh, you haven't even watched it? Oh, I suspected you had.
No, I just put a comment in there underneath someone else's stupid comment. That was it. But I knew it would be stupid, and I knew it would be annoying, and I knew you'd react to it.
Yeah, it is. I did. Well done. Even without watching it,
Yeah.
you were right on the money.
No, I just know it's stupid. You just know it's stupid from one go. Yeah. I didn't need to even look at a second of it. I just know, yeah, this is stupid.
I don't know why I've got a different spin on it. I don't know if you've been listening. Right. If I was to suddenly start to knock LGBTQ people, there'd be uproar. Right? If I started to pigeonhole all trans people and say they all do this, I'd never hear the end of it, would I?
No.
Right? If I said all women do X, I'd never hear the end of it. If I said all blacks do X, all blacks think X, I don't think I'd get away with that. But yet you say all flat earthers say X. Anyone goes, yeah, right, yeah, fair enough, yeah. Doesn't matter if it's them repeating their own claim about gravity that's got nothing to do with what we say at all. They'll get away with telling me about what I think about their religious belief in their gravity that I have got nothing to do with. And suddenly I'm supposed to accept that? It's absolutely outrageous.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's the general consensus that it's okay to attack us. There's not even that it's okay. They don't even give it a second thought.
Attack us all you like. Attack everything I've got to say about the subject matter. I say Earth's measured flat. Come and attack me on the matter. Show me how I'm wrong. Show me how it's not measured flat and measured ball-shaped. You do that. Attack me all you like. But tell me that I believe that there's a bent fourth dimensional space-time that's stupid, and that's enraging. No, I don't have a bent pseudo-Riemannian space-time that's come from Einstein. You do. But you've told us how it's flat earthers bent space-time and flat earthers Earth rising up. No, it isn't. That's all Einstein. You just never studied it. You've never gone beyond high school. So therefore, gravity's a downward force. But it's not. It's the stuff you ascribe to flat earthers. Why? Well, because the controlled opposition that is out there, in the form of Flat Earth Society, have put it out there. In the exact form of Einsteinianism. But just attached to Flat Earth. Why not? And they're just laughing at you. You and your ignorance, not mine. Meanwhile, you're telling me what I don't believe about your bleeding religion in gravity. Like, that's perfectly reasonable. It isn't.
Yeah, they don't even know their own religion, but yet they think that that making a video attacking us, attaching some of their religion to us that isn't part of us, is a smart thing to do.
It's like saying all Buddhists think Jesus was a mechanic, and Buddhists are idiots. They're wrong when they say unequivocally, all of them, all at once, that Jesus was a mechanic. These idiots don't know a thing they're talking about. It's like, are they talking about Jesus at all? Are they saying he's a mechanic? And isn't that your religious belief as a Christian? Why are you telling us what they say about it?
I heard he was a carpenter.
Yeah, that's the point.
It doesn't work.
Oh,
They say, as the sun is moving, it goes behind a mountain. That's why you can't see it anymore.
Who said this? Who said that the reason we have sunsets that we just deny that we see? Do you want to contradict us? I'm not even going to ask this. You've just told us that we deny sunsets. Now you're telling us that what we explain sunsets with is that they go behind mountains. What if there's no mountains? This is the stupidest garbage I've ever heard, and it's contradictory. Do I deny them by stereotype, or do I simultaneously not deny them and say that their cause is going behind mountains? Okay. It seems like I'm in a bit of a contradictory straw man stereotype that I've got to accept. I don't know what to do, really, with this total garbage made up by this kid.
And therefore it sets. But as far as I know, no mountain goes above Earth's atmosphere. The flat earthers think that the sun is
Goes above Earth's what? Did anybody catch what he just said?
Yeah, atmosphere.
Atmosphere. Atmo, that means air. Like gases that we're breathing, right? Got that, yeah. Sphere. Isn't sphere a shape? Why would gases be in a sphere shape? Oh, of course. This kid's got a religious zealot belief that air arbitrarily takes sphere shapes, because his religion says it does. Yeah, your foisting of your religion on us when it comes to sphere-shaped air is a violation of the second law of thermodynamics and an oxymoron. Moronic like yourself. You don't have sphere-shaped air. Gases, that's atmo, take the shape of their containment. A bit like you described earlier with volumes, right? Now, if for the sake of argument your diagrammatical example with little balls in it in a square had no sides and it was filled with gas, then it would fill the space beyond the limitations of your square that you drew. Because gas fills space. That's what it does. It does not take sphere-shaped. Gas doesn't do that.
Well, I think with a lot of these people that make these videos, that they think it's okay in their head that when they don't actually know what we actually claim as a consensus of us, right? Now, we don't have a claim as a consensus of us with certain subjects, certain parts of the topic, like sunsets. Different people will make different claims about them. But I think they think it's okay just to make up something in their head that would be what we would say according to the level of intellect that they think we have, and just throw that out there. You know what I mean? It's like, I think they think that's all right. And unfortunately, they do often get a lot of views. So a lot of other people probably do think that that's okay as well.
Yeah, like I say, if it was a religious belief that was protected by government, in the UK you can get locked up for it, and people are currently. You're like, how is this not inciting? Go on, someone's trying to get in. Go ahead, whoever that is.
But we have one kind, let's say, of consensus. It's called there is no measurable curvature. Everything is flat. There is no such a thing like a curve. And we will point it out every time, that thing. And if everybody knows the flat earth, that will be the main reason why Earth is not a sphere, at least. You can put many, many other arguments, but the point is, where is the curvature? All the time. That's our consensus.
Exactly. If they want the consensus view, there it is. There is no curvature. We measure Earth as a horizontal plane with topography above and below it. With navigation, because navigation is mainly two-dimensional, we treat the Earth as just one big flat plane. These kind of things. Where's the curvature? All those things, yeah, we are all in consensus about that. We're all in consensus. Most of us are in consensus about it's stationary, right? These are the things that we are basically all saying, where's the curvature? It's not moving. All these kind of things. But they don't go to those particular parts of the topic because they're the tricky ones. They don't go to. They say there's no curvature because there isn't. Do you know what I mean? So instead, they make up some nonsense about the sunset.
Yeah, but Brian, I have a problem because this kid said he was going to debunk our theories using science. I haven't heard any science yet.
But that's more of it. It's like they think that this is a science topic. They don't understand what natural science is, and they think that they think they can just throw the word science out there. So makes it all okay and validates their video.
1,600 kilometers above the surface of the Earth. And for comparison, Mount Everest.
Sorry, 2,600 kilometers above the surface of the Earth. That's a flat Earth measurement, then, isn't it?
9,000.
Sorry?
You cut off the beginning. He started 9,000 and whatever number he gave. He says That's how far we think the sun is.
Yeah, but he said above surface level.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Should we play it again just so you can hear it? He says above the surface, but above the surface is surface level. I won't play it again. But the point is, you need a flat Earth for that. How are you going to give an altitude? What's an altitude? Well, it's your height above sea level, isn't it? You need a flat Earth for that. So up direction, like he was giving with gravity for down. Up, down. These concepts need a flat Earth. Elevation, you need a flat Earth for that. They just can't help themselves. They're too dumb to realise that they're using flat Earth concepts that can only be measured flat and are described flat, calculated flat. Like your height above the surface level, above sea level. Altitude is a flat Earth prerequisite. He's using it, even though he thinks he's on a globe and he's asking stuff about his own religion.
The tallest mountain ever found is 9 kilometers tall. I don't get it. I don't understand how the sun is supposed to go over mountains.
Who cares? You've measured the height of the mountain, and if you've got the height of the mountain, it's its height with respect to a flat plane. That's what elevation, height, that's how big the mountain is, yeah? What do you think that height is? Is it height off a curve? No, dum-dum. That's not how we measure Earth. On the contrary, we measure Earth flat. That's how you've got the height of the mountain.
Because
If
up
no-
and down must be, in our places, must be parallel verticals or parallel zeniths. I mean, up has to be a parallel zenith with another up, regardless of the distance away. The same for down. There's no way
Exactly.
around that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's supposed to be saying in and out, not up and down.
Precisely, you two are ace. Yeah, you don't have up. You're not allowed to use up. I wish one deck was here. You're not allowed that word. Right? That's our word. You can use that word if you're talking about a flat Earth. And when you do use that word, you are describing a flat Earth. The quicker you guys understand this, the better.
No mountain is within a fraction of its height. This
Height above sea level, right? Dum-dum? Yeah? That's what you're going to start getting called because you've stereotyped us and outraged me so much. So I can only assume you've done it through stupidity. Your ignorance is going to get you labelled. Dum-dum. Your height is above sea level. That's how high the mountain is. That's a flat Earth prerequisite.
explanation is already very sketchy, but wait till you hear how they explain time zones. You probably know that almost always half of the Earth is illuminated by the sun, and for 6 months, the sun doesn't set on the South Pole, and vice versa for the North Pole.
The globe that you're describing with those descriptions would be latitude and longitude grid based in terms of the positional data to wrap it round a globe. To give you that positional information, you first have to map the territory with respect to the stars. That is how all of these maps and models, including the globe, came to fruition. So what you're about to do is take flat Earth elevation angles, convert them onto a sphere, and then tell us how the luminaries that were measured flat in the first instance to give you this sphere work on a sphere. Okay. It's just a begging the question fallacy derived from flat Earth Genesis measurements. Go ahead, Brian.
Sorry, I thought you were finished. Yeah, and so far that's not time zones. Time zones disprove it's flat and disprove it's a globe. This could be good. This guy either doesn't know what time zones are so far, or he's actually going to think he can use time zones to prove a globe. All 34 of them, is it, that the globe has?
It's increased over time. I remember looking at it 10 years ago and I counted at 27. And then it went up to 30, and then over time it's increased to something like 37 time zones. I'm not saying there's been more added. I'm saying you just discover where they've slipped them in, and then you count up more. But just at surface level, if you just go to a standard Mercator projection with time zones on it, there's 27 of them. Just straight up, if you don't even look hard, you can count up 27 time zones.
Yeah, 3 hours that don't exist.
Yeah, in the south.
But this can't physically happen on a flat Earth. As you
Right, you can't tell us that the calculations derived from flat Earth don't work on the supposition of the original base measurement. The way you've got this model and the last one, this is an azimuthal equidistant globe projection, and it's a globe projection from what you had at previously, the globe. Both of these have their origin measurements in angle measurements to the luminaries. Now what you're doing is measuring the luminaries off a flat Earth, producing a model with those measurements, and then with the calculations derived from the measurements saying that the original measurements don't work. It's utterly stupid.
You can see the South Pole on their map has been looped around the Earth.
South Pole on our map. No, this is a globe projection that takes what cannot literally be physically presented in the manner that it's projected in. You've got the south section of a sphere projected up and out to the outside rim, turning what is on the globe, at least, a continent or an island onto the outside rim because it's at the centre point of that globe. So where this is a North Pole centric azimuthal equidistant projection, you could equally put this projection point anywhere on the globe and then produce your, I don't know the word for the shape, it's like a cone and a circle with an oval to the top of the circle that then projects up like a bubble onto this flat plane. When you take the globe and then project all sections of a spherical shape onto a flat circular ring, distorting out Antarctica onto the outside edge. Okay, now that was a very long and not even complete, but yet still very convoluted description of how you get to this globe projection. I will add on to the end that that globe in its origins is based on the flat Earth angles to the stars in the first place. But in order to do what he's doing, he's attempting to invalidate the original measurements with the calculations derived from those measurements. Or to put it another way, say this flat Earth doesn't work with the flat Earth I measured. Okay, that's because it's a globe distorted projection. It's not my model. It's yours. It's a globe projection. Shout out to TVH again. May I have a shout out to Neil, Divergent Droid, and Mr. the legend himself, Nathan Oakley. Shout out to Neil, Divergent Droid, and the legend himself, me. Thank you for the super chat, TVH.
And has become more of a ring than a pole. So during the summer, when the South Pole is illuminated 24/7 on a flat Earth...
No, on an azimuthal equidistant globe projection that isn't my model and is a distorted worldview because it's North Pole centric and sends the ice wall to the outside edge when it's a continent claimed to be on the bottom of a ball that was originally created with flat Earth angles to the stars to create the ball. This is total garbage.
The sun has to somehow illuminate all of the South Pole while avoiding the North Pole by curving around.
Does this guy know what the word pole means? So what South Pole? It's become an outside edge because it's a globe projection. Why are you calling a circle, an O shape, a pole? Do you not even know what the words that you're using are? If this word inconsistency doesn't trigger your brain to say, no, something ain't right here. I'm saying pole and drawing a circle.
Around the Earth. This happens every summer, and it can't physically happen on a flat Earth.
No, you can't represent it on the azimuthal equidistant globe projection that's derived from flat Earth measurements when you produce the globe it was projected from. You just don't know what you're dealing with, son. You're just too new to this. You're too green, too fresh out of high school, too indoctrinated with your religious belief in downward forces of gravity from Newton that were outdated 109 years ago. You got a lot of problems. Those are all based on facts, by the way. I haven't stereotyped you with a single thing I've just listed.
Try to combat this by saying that there's no 24/7 daylight, which there are.
Sorry, who has ever said that there's no possibility of 24 hours of daylight in Antarctica? Has anybody ever actually said that here?
I have never actually said that, no. I tended to never make any claims that I remember about that whole thing.
Obviously is you can go to Antarctica, any of the poles really, and you can see for yourself. Alright, fine. But what about the moon? We know that it's much closer to us than the sun is.
Good point. Within the stereotype, right, if you've got the azimuthal equidistant globe projection being stacked up in false dichotomy on the flat Earth side for their stereotype, false dichotomy and straw man, then if they're suggesting that they're going to, quote, Antarctica, where exactly are they saying that they're going on that projection?
They're always going to before 80 degrees south. Every time they do anything, any of these videos that you see, of a supposed 24-hour sun, it's always prior to 80 degrees south, never past 80 degrees south. So they're claiming to go to somewhere around the edge of this ice island that they're claiming exists. But it's not onto the island. They're not actually going past 80 degrees south, which is kind of strange.
Okay. We're going to round out shortly, so we'll do a couple more minutes of this dude.
But not here. One observation that we see is that the moon's side we view becomes upside down relative to which hemisphere you view it from.
No, that's got everything to do with you turning around and facing the other direction. Nothing to do with the begging the question assumption that you're on a antipodal positioned system that you described as the hemispheres. No, those hemispheres are derived from flat plane measurements of the stars, and if you're going to describe it in any way sphere-shaped, you've got to project a globe from a flat plane through the antipodal flat plane system that creates the celestial sphere, to then mathematically conjure a globe within it. So your lack of knowledge of why you'd say this word, actually just an extension of your religious belief that you've been trained into believing that you're standing on a projected model from within the celestial sphere, but on the globe that's projected from the flat plane from within the globe. The angle measurements that we actually measure on Earth. Not that we can be measuring them in hell, but you'll justify moving them down from a surface you're not standing on based on parallel distances and light rays that were also derived from flat Earth measurements. Again, with an advanced understanding of your religion, we can dissect the flat Earth measurements and genesis that you have for your religion.
It's pretty clear that this won't happen on a flat Earth, but they appear...
No, won't happen what? We won't turn around on the azimuthal equidistant projection and see the other side of the moon? I'm pretty sure that would actually work in terms of how a flat Earth's described with respect to the azimuthal equidistant globe projection that you've strawmanned us with in this instance. Why wouldn't that work? Just move into the other side of it.
You know, an issue that most of these people that make these videos have, the biggest issue in not being able to, this is partly why they don't even actually learn anything or research before they make the videos, is that they pre-assume the moon to be what they're pre-assuming it is, or the sun to be what they're pre-assuming it is in their paradigm. And they're trying to fit those things into a paradigm they're making up for us in their head.
Right.
Yeah. So you don't know what the moon is. You just don't realize you don't know what the moon is. And if you've realized and accepted that you don't know what the moon is or the sun is, etc., then you wouldn't be able to even come to those conclusions of what would and would not happen over a flat plane, because you couldn't make any claims about these things in the sky that you don't know anything about. And that's the problem. They're always trying to stick their model, right? Oh, sorry, not model, their paradigm into a paradigm they're making up for us. Not understanding or realizing that, hang on, do I actually even know what the moon is? Does anyone know it? And look, find out that nobody knows. That it's all, that they just tell you things that they have no support for. You know,
apparently
they
also
just
have an
accept those things and add them in. Come on.
explanation for that. Let me show you what they think happens. So.
No. Let me tell you what Muslims think. All of them, simultaneously. Seem reasonable?
Let's place the moon where they think it goes. 9,600 kilometers above the ground.
No, you can't measure the distance to the moon. Yeah? As it recedes towards the horizon, if you're going to infer that you can measure it, what you've got is its apparent angular size and its apparent angular distance? No. As it reaches the horizon, that would infer that when it reaches its minimum, it's crashing into the ground, and its height is 0. Obviously not. Furthermore, as you raise an elevation, many of the luminaries change not the slightest bit in terms of their angular representation. So you raise in altitude, but they don't change their angle. Okay? So if it's right on the horizon when you're at 0, it'll be right on the horizon at 30,000 feet. It's a principle of navigation that has meant we can use the parallel plane with the sky with a retention of the angle that we measure at all altitudes. Now that tells me that we haven't got the slightest idea what these things are, because they behave in a very unworldly way. That is to say, how things behave on the ground when I've got physical manipulatable abilities with them is definitely not how these lights behave. Quite the contrary. They're very alien in their behavior. But useful because, but for the fact that they do retain their angles, we can navigate with them by measuring a flat Earth and deriving all these models that you seem to be strawmanning us when you use globe projections that are claimed to be flat Earth models. They're not.
And then, let's view it from the flat Earth. They do believe the moon is 3D, and the face of the moon...
Who says the moon's 3D? I'm pretty sure in the last week I remember taking some guy apart based on the fact that we only have monocular vision to the sky. Who says it's 3D? Come on, admit it. I'll take a little bit on the chin. I've suggested that you can take an inference based on libration. There you go. I've admitted it. Who else has done that? Come on, put your hands up. This guy's telling us we believe this and we state it.
I've never stated that. I only know that that's the official claim.
Yeah, beyond the heliocentric belief he holds. Brian, your timing is epic. You just described perfectly what he's just done. So based on my understanding that it's definitely a spherical rock in the sky that we landed on has got a backside. What? Flat earthers say it's 3D? Or not 3D? I mean, who cares? We're not saying this. It's a straw man.
The moon that we see is at the bottom. So if you're directly underneath the moon, then...
Yeah, you'll need a flat earth for these descriptions, son. Directly underneath, what, at its zenith? 90 degrees to your position with respect to a plane of reference. Zenith. These are flat earth concepts, son. Better start learning them quick. Your globe religion's based on them.
Then it makes perfect sense. But if we look at it from the edge, you can see that we start to see the other...
Who's looking at anything from any edge out in some sky vacuum that a flat earth's floating up in? If this was the case, then even though it's not my model, it's an azimuthal equidistant globe projection that's just flat. And this area is claimed to be the what, sky vacuum? Well, gas that we're all breathing at a high pressure in this area would all disperse into this area, so this is all bollocks.
Other side of the moon that no one has ever seen from the Earth. The same thing happens when you look at it from the other side of the flat Earth. Sure, the moon side that we can see from the flat Earth is flipped from different viewing angles, but we also see a lot...
So now you've just undone your own argument by describing the fact that you can turn around. Yeah, you can.
lot of the moon that we shouldn't see. Next up, let's talk about movement. Flat earthers like to laugh.
Notice he had a moon side that we shouldn't see. What, according to your religion? An assumption of 3D sphericity that we can land on in its physical nature. It's just a light in the sky. You think it's a great big load of soil. It's just stupid.
Touch on the idea that if we were moving this fast around the sun, we would feel going 100,000 kilometers an hour, wouldn't we?
Yeah, we'd have all sorts of different velocities in different directions because we're supposed to be spinning and rotating around other objects. Therefore, there'd be a change in direction almost always, and we'd absolutely be ripped apart as a result of those velocities and changes in direction. We'd absolutely notice. Furthermore, your globe has a claim that we do notice, and we can measure it at 15 degrees an hour. It's called Coriolis deflection. Not notice, it's supposed to be bleeding measurable. Of course, there aren't actually any effects of 15 degrees an hour deviation that are real. It's just claimed to be there. It's claimed to be in effect. It's called Coriolis.
Let's find out. Why don't we? Well, it's because...
Who cares? Your claim is that we see 15 degrees an hour, not why we will or won't feel anything. Deviation at 15 degrees an hour is supposed to occur as Earth turns underneath anything not attached as a second reference frame. That's your claim. Not mine. This is sod all to do with me, by the way. Is that someone trying to get in? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to ask him, how are you going to get 15 degrees an hour rotation of what and from where?
Horizontal plane of reference, axis with respect to it.
Space is a vacuum. It's very, very empty. Think of it this way.
If the sky was a vacuum, then the gas we're breathing would fill that space. It's a law of nature. It's called dispersion. It's entropy. Second law of thermodynamics. Gas fills space. So no, I'm not going to consider that the sky is a vacuum. We'd all be dead.
You're in a vacuum-sealed airplane going 900 kilometers an hour. You don't feel the air rushing around you. But if that airplane didn't...
So it's a sealed system that's closed in this hypothetical example where we've got gas not dispersing off the Earth that we're going to be leaving. Well, what we're going to do, look back at Earth as a sealed system? No, it isn't. It's claimed to be a gas next to a vacuum, and you can leave it in your rocket, hypothetically. Meanwhile, your hypothetical globe Earth in a sky vacuum would be violating the second law of thermodynamics. Gas fills space. Go ahead.
Also, he's he's mixing up a system that is accelerating, which they're claimed to be changing vectors on their spheretard, right? And a system that is not accelerating. That's what he doesn't understand acceleration.
No. Or the actual claim that the globe has, which is Coriolis. Go ahead, whoever that was.
Yeah, if we were moving at 15 degrees per hour and it was 1,000 miles an hour as a rate at the equator of the big ball, then our ears are literally designed to detect those changes in acceleration, because that's what angular momentum is, a consistent change in acceleration. That's what our ears are designed to detect. So we couldn't not know. It's not possible.
Have any walls and a roof, you would be able to feel the dense atmosphere rushing by you and flinging you off the plane.
So without any walls and roof, we'd get flung off the earth. Yeah, well, that pretty much undoes your religious belief in an open system next to a vacuum with gas not dispersing in violation of the second law of thermodynamics. Yeah, you'd need walls and a roof. Your globe Earth religion doesn't have that, you stupid clown.
Epic. I mean, epic levels of takedown. How these people, I don't know, how they get across the road. I'll get up out of bed in the morning without getting hurt. It's like, you would need definitely walls and a roof to stop that from becoming a major problem. It's like, you mean the walls and the roof you don't have in your paradigm?
Yeah, he also earlier, before you got here, Brian, told us how stupid the bent space-time in Flat Earthers' electromagnetic idea was. Like, bent space-time's Einstein. But because he hasn't been taught it, he's more than happy to hear it attached to a flat Earth concept and call it stupid. Like, this is Einstein, you stupid boy. It's part of your religion, not mine.
The best description of the movement was given...
Go on.
Just quickly, another observation I've made over the years with these videos is it's mostly made by people, guys mostly, but some females, who have never actually been to university. And if they have, they haven't studied, let's just say, astrophysics or anything like that. So they don't seem to understand that. Their high school education is not going to cut it. That what they taught them in high school is a heap of rubbish because it's not the current story within their paradigm.
Yeah. In other words, what you're saying is the Dunning-Kruger effect leads them to think after their high school education and a bit of Discovery Channel watching that they have an advanced heliocentric understanding and an advanced flat Earth understanding. It's like, no, you've led yourself into this misunderstanding or misbelief that you possess the ability to not only understand heliocentrism at a high level, but also understand and appreciate how to undo and overcome anything beyond the feast and nonsense garbage that the mainstream lays out for you to think you're smart when you think that what a response to how gravity works is how you deal with a flat earther. So where have you got this from? Dunning-Kruger. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I'm just saying, because they all think that we're just a load of dropouts who don't even understand the high school level education position. Sorry for cutting in on it.
No, that's perfect. You're absolutely right. Exactly. The perception that they're created with, which is why it's quite a shock when they come here. They come in and go, well, are you guys all flat earthers, really? Well, just by suggesting that, oh, right, are you guys all flat earthers? We already know that you think we're all stupid before you've said anything. Half the time you're having a conversation with them quite happily, and they're like, oh, you guys are all right, aren't you? You're quite smart. And then you go, yeah. Did you know Earth's measured flat? Oh, right, so you guys are all flat earthers. I need to change my tone because you've instantly all become dumb. You're like, no, but you're going to instantly think that you're superior to us because you've been through high school and been told you're on a ball and that gravity holds you on it. Therefore, you're smarter than everyone else in the room. Yeah, Dunning-Kruger.
Gravity.
Go on.
Well, I was just going to say gravity holds you down with respect to an inertial plane. What's that got to do with the ball?
It's got everything to do with the flat Earth.
Yeah, well, are you referring, Nathan, to your OME TV clips? Because the one or two videos I did see earlier on, it is the case where you're speaking to someone and everything you're saying is making sense, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't realize that. That's good. That's good to know." And then you say, because Earth is measured to be a flat plane, and they suddenly change their tone. Is this a consistent thing? Yeah, I would say it is. It's like suddenly everything you said that was 100% correct that they didn't even know about beforehand suddenly must be wrong in their heads because you now are stating that the Earth is not a globe.
Yeah, I don't know how the magic trick has led everybody in the normie society to think that they're in a superior position. All of a sudden, it's like, okay, so because you've got the same religion as everyone else in the Western world, and the majority of the rest of the world for that matter, you think that somehow you, with exactly the same education as everyone else, is in a superior position about this? Whatever would lead you to that position? Whatever would give you that idea that suddenly you're the smartest person in the room because we're talking about space and Earth being a ball? It is Dunning-Kruger. I've said it 3 times, but that is what it is. Oh, I know all about this. Do you? You haven't got a clue.
You know what would be nice to find out where he find out that all that information about flat earthers to compare to the globe Earth model. Do you understand? All that what he claimed until now. I don't understand where he find it. Even I think that flat Earth Society has no that claims what he claims.
I don't know. All I can do is pull
He's
it.
making it up.
Yeah, after it's made up.
Yeah.
Because he thinks that's okay. Because what happens is that these people who get their high school education, they don't realize that they're actually being trained to be Dunning-Kruger.
Yeah.
That's where their training leads them. So they're trained to be that person. And there's a lot more high school, let's just say, people who, let's say, completed high school than people that went on to university and completed degrees and PhDs. A lot more of those. So you have a big consensus of people who all agree with each other because they're all taught the same nonsense that's even wrong within their own paradigm in high school, and they're instantly determining within their own minds that when they hear anything about us, that we are all dropouts from high school, so we didn't even learn that much, so instantly they know more.
Yeah, they've gone through a comprehensive education. It's like, all right, so you've been taught the ability to think logically then? No, you've been taught how to repeat something and write it down on an exam paper, like everybody else in the country. So you've got the same base knowledge of everybody. And because you're taught that absolutely every bit of it is correct and 100% right, you'll rattle that off with the firm assurance that you know that that is right. It's like, what are you doing? Dunning-Kruger. But like you say, Brian, they've been trained to be that way. So they don't notice things like automatically assuming their outcome. Well, I'll just automatically say that I've been on a ball for many years, therefore let's time to measure it. Speaking of which, we'll be covering Thunderfoot tomorrow. Obviously, we're going to run out of time today. We'll just get to the last couple of minutes of this video, though. It's probably less than that now.
By the great scientist Isaac Newton. One of his laws of motion explains...
The laws of motion of Newton were not right. End quote. I think it's Feynman. No, you're 109 years out of date, but thank you for confirming what we already knew. You ascribe to the high school education of Newtonian gravity, which is 109 years out of date, superseded by the fourth dimensional space-time invented by a man named Einstein. Go ahead, G+.
Oh,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I was just going to say, and technically Newton wasn't a scientist because he at no point ever committed to a hypothesis
let me quote him. I feign no hypothesis for gravity. End quote. Newton.
Also, Newton's laws of motion are only applicable on an inertial plane. So what relevance does this have to his religion?
Nothing. It's being described right or wrong with a flat plane.
Explain how an object at rest remains at rest, or if in motion, remains in motion, at a constant velocity, unless acted on by an external force. So the Earth will remain orbiting the Sun, and the Sun will remain orbiting our galaxy.
No, this is just church rhetoric. That's all this is. Came from the Roman Catholic Church. Go ahead, Brian.
He doesn't understand that Newton's laws of motion. Now, what John just said a minute ago, I wanted to jump in and say exactly, but I didn't want to ruin what you were saying, Nathan. I didn't want to jump in then. Newton's laws of motion are based off a stationary, an inertial plane, right? They're not. His laws of motion have nothing to do, technically, with what the claims of with the claims that were being made concerning the supposed solar system.
Right.
They're
not intertwined.
They don't really apply there.
Right.
No,
Right.
he's got a choice. He can either apply them to the heliocentric solar system, in which case you could make that claim, but it would make those laws invalid for us on Earth, however you view it. Yeah, because it's that John outlined it perfectly. It's that initial definition of what these laws are applicable to, and they're not applicable to something spinning at 1,000 miles an hour and moving at 66,000 miles and some. Yeah, it's applicable to a stationary plane of reference and what things are objects do on that reference. Not if you start moving the frame of reference, that means the laws are no longer applicable.
Right, and in the context he's tied it to a Copernican frame of reference that's sun-centric. You're like, well, that's completely non sequitur to what you've just described. You can, as Adam's just described, but going to a church rhetoric after describing Newton's so-called laws, which were not right, is non sequitur. Now, like I don't know if anybody has summarised this already. This is just part of one section of the heliocentric indoctrination you receive in high school. Doesn't mean it's necessarily intertwined, but the belief that it is what he's now expressing. In other words, another successfully indoctrinated heliocentrist religious zealot is born. And now he's defending his belief about what he doesn't understand about his own religion and pegging it on flat earthers. It's pretty sad, really, when you actually break down what's going on with this poor little sod.
It is because he doesn't even understand that actual difference between Newton's laws of motion and claims he might have made concerning a solar system. He doesn't understand the difference.
Yeah, it's Copernicus.
Yeah. Well,
the galaxy will remain.
Newton's, just so he knows, or people know, Newton's claimed force of attraction between masses, gravity, that they ascribe to him, what they actually do ascribe to him, as opposed to all the nonsense they're trying to ascribe afterwards. That originated with Kepler. It was Kepler that inspired Newton when it comes to that. So that actually originated with Kepler. It has absolutely no connection to Newton's laws of motion, which are purely based in our 3D reality.
Right.
As soon as he says it's in the heliocentric model, he by default, it then means in his worldview, Newton's laws are no longer applicable.
Exactly.
Moving towards Andromeda and so on, until something stops them. People who believe in absurd theories will always exist. The best you can do is not believe in them yourself, and try not to fall for any conspiracies.
Like you.
Yeah.
He's the one that believes in absurd colloquial theories.
Right. This is pure projection. 100% projection. He started this with his first little proofsy. Nothing he's covered is to do with flat Earth. I'll just reiterate that. But his first little proofsy was about what flat earthers believe versus what he believes when it comes to gravity. Now he's rounding out by saying, best not to just have these beliefs. Yeah, I can get away with saying that. And I do. But you definitely can't.
A lot of them are just scams. I hope you learned something from this video, because I sure did making it, and if you are a flat earther, I hope I did something to convince you otherwise. Thank you for watching till the very end. If you liked what you saw, then you should watch.
Go ahead, Brian.
A lot of them are just scams. Where did anyone validate at any point that someone was a flat earther as a scam?
Nobody did.
How was that even? Go on, Adam.
I'll go with Dave Weiss.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. But we validated that. They didn't validate that. But that is true. Yeah, 100% correct.
Hold on.
And Jaron Campanella. And Witsit. Yeah, sorry. I stand corrected.
Yeah, but they're not being a flat earth scam. They're scamming people by pretending to be flat earthers. So flat earth Dave, that's Dave Weiss, was put on the spot by Jesse. What's his surname?
Jesse Lee Peters.
Jesse Lee Peters, and asked, do you know for sure and without a doubt that the earth is flat? I think it was 28 times. And one of the responses was, quote, "It could be a really big ball," end quote, David Weiss. So when we say David Weiss scam, it's like, well, he's scamming people into believing he's a flat earther and using the good name of flat earth when he doesn't believe that the earth is flat and cannot say for sure and without a doubt that the earth is flat. In fact, when push comes to shove, when asked exactly that, he'll say the earth could be a really big ball. That's the scam.
No, he holds flat earth as a belief that can be changed at the drop of a hat when he needs to change it. Because it's not something he's claiming to know. He's just claiming it as a belief. And we can all change that.
Any more comment on this dude's video?
Yeah, I have one last thing to add in. What you notice about flat earthers is if you go through flat earthers and that are out there is a lot of college, let's say high school dropouts. And there is a section of people like Adam who have higher level education, right? But the in-between part, where this guy and people like him are coming from, there is no lot there. So those who dropped out avoided the indoctrination to that same degree, and those that went past it were smart enough and able enough to get to a point of being able to understand that that was a load of rubbish. You know what I mean? It's like whatever they would teach people, I'm sure even concerning chemistry in high school, a lot of that could be thrown out the window when they get to university. You know what I mean? Because they're trying to simplify everything. So I think a lot of flat earthers avoided that level of indoctrination. And yeah, a lot of us are dropouts. But that has actually helped us intellectually and academically, as opposed to hindered us in some ways. Now, there is exceptions.
Like you say, at the other end of the stream, you've got people like Adam, who has gone through university. Me, I was privately educated. And there's everything in between. So there's no way to stereotype us. You're saying, well, yeah, some of us did drop out. And you're like, yeah, because we cover or covered by a extremely broad cross-section of society, all races, all creeds, all colours, all heights, all sexes. There's no stereotyping a flat earther as being a something or having X belief. It's just outrageous. In fact, I even put that as the title for today's live stream. But there we go, along with the guy's title. I put a link to his video. It's just whizzed on by in the live stream chat, so please let that videographer know. His name, I've got highlighted so I can't read, is Arev D. Dabli. I'm sure I'm butchering his name. I'm really sorry, my friend, but hopefully you'll get a few subscribers out of it.
Just before you end, just to give an example, I am a dropout. I dropped out very young, and I would have dropped out younger if I was legally allowed. The government wouldn't allow me to do it. I am a dropout. So there is a lot of things I've had to learn over the years because I was a dropout. There is a lot of things like trigonometry and other things I had to learn, right? But they were possible to learn as long as you apply yourself. It's just because someone drops out doesn't mean they can't learn those things. But what it meant is that I wasn't indoctrinated to the same degree, a certain amount of indoctrination, but not to the same degree as someone like this guy. So I didn't get to the point of becoming a robot and stopping. Whereas then there's Adam, who wasn't a dropout, who excelled, I'm sure, academically through his school years, and then went into university and excelled again. And now he's excelling as a chemist. But the point being is that we don't have a lot of flat earthers who just go through high school and then walk out of there and start telling everyone that it's a globe. Because that seems to be what ballers are. Because they keep on, I notice myself from my own research, over the years, most of the ballers just have high school education. And they just pre-assume that you don't even have that and that you're stupid. So consequently, they think they already have the answers. And that's where most of the time where they trip up and where they end up getting corrected by someone like me who did drop out but has done research since and is able to correct them on the things that they don't actually understand because they only have a high school level education.
Perfect. With that, I'm going to say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow.
Even notice it. It's like it's really becoming telling the level of education that our opposition have. Really is, because if they had any level of education concerning, let's say, chemistry and things like that, they would have definitely spotted that I was saying this thing a little bit wrong. You would have spotted it
There's a reason for that.
in a heartbeat.
Do you want to know why I think that occurs?
Well,
You've got to be at a certain place mentally and educationally to make videos about anti-flat Earth. If you're a bit better researched, you go, oh crap, we're measuring it flat here. Now, there's a couple of instances. The best example is Conspiracy Cats. He went through that transition whilst making videos. In other words, he reached a point where he went, oh crap. Now, I don't know if it was before, during, or after him making a video and saying, I'll give you a flat Earth for this angle representation that requires Earth be flat to give it you. I'm paraphrasing. But there must have been a point for him that he realised, because he's done a bit more research. Admittedly, not researched enough when entering into the videography, and then realising halfway through it's measured flat and there's no way of getting around it. So he buggers off and gives his channels to other people who were at that stage he was at previously, and he disappears into the wild blue yonder. Now maybe he crops up to do some videos about ghosts and ghoulies with ranty flat Earth, but my point is that there was a clear distinction with him being admittedly held over the ropes by me and Tommy for his gas pressure without a container, and simultaneously telling us that I'll give you a flat Earth for that, was about the point, or that's slightly shortly after, that he's gone, no, I'm not going to make any more videos. I'll hand off my channels to these other people. So what I'm saying is, if you get that little bit more educated than the people we're opposing, you realise it's probably not a good idea to make videos. Yeah? That you're going to get proven wrong. So the smarter people don't enter the arena, is my point.
Exactly, because that's what he did. Right after he realised, I'll give you a flat Earth for that, because he knew that he could not. Right? Because you can't do the thing without treating the Earth as a flat plane for 50 or 60 miles or whatever it was. So consequently, he had to say, I'll give you a flat Earth for that, and then disappear. Because he knew he had reached the point where, oh, I actually can't defend any of this nonsense because against these people, because I have to, it's going to get to the point again where I have to give them a flat Earth.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, to actually go through the argument. So that always puzzled me with Rufy. You seem intelligent enough to realise this, but he does the opposite. He realises where the faults are and tries to work his way around them within the paradigm. You're like, man, that is deep, deep and painful. But more power to him.
I have to say that Rufus has to be the number one ball. I know what way to describe him. Ball supporter, as he's smarter than the rest of them. Probably him and Conspiracy Cats are probably even out. Maybe, I don't know. But even Conspiracy Cats though has the common sense though to know this ship is sinking. I'm stepping out. Do you know what I mean? Even though he doesn't want the ship to be sinking, he's got enough common sense to understand it's time to jump ship, or maybe not jump ship, but just not keep on shouting that you're about being on the ship that's sinking. Whereas with Ruif, I call him plain Titanic Williamson, and they call him this to himself, like I'll write it to him, because he's staying on a sinking ship that he knows is sinking. It makes no sense.
Yeah, I'm going to start calling him that too. Glenn Titanic Williamson. Absolutely correct. He's on a sinking ship. It's going down. At least Conspiracy Cats has gone, I'm not going to concede because I'll get it in the neck from all of my own side. I'll just vanish. And I'll keep them happy. I'll give several of the more prominent ones that aren't raising up in the ranks as quickly as Cats did. I'll give them my channels. So they're suddenly more profitable for it. They can do nothing but thank me. So he's cut his losses and walked out with nothing but praise from his own side, but without having to deal with the criticism and pain of us pointing out things like gas pressure without a container, or I'll give you a flat Earth for that. Yeah, you're damn right you will. Now, goodbye. But why would you give up lucrative channels that were profitable? He could have just left them. He didn't have to do anything. He could have just left them and not gone back to them. But so that his own side were kept on side as he walked away, he gave the channels to other people who promoted them and used them and were active with them. We could have just left them and just gleaned the money from them.
Yeah, and he gave them to people that he knew were just stupid enough. like, and hungry enough, like McToon.
Yeah, and
Because he
Mr.
basically
Sensible.
handed he basically two people that can't see when they're wrong, and I know for definite that Mr. Sensible doesn't admit when he's wrong, because that was proven in the past.
Two people, Brian, that will just stand on the deck shouting, "No, this ship is unsinkable.
Yeah,
Back away from
exactly.
the iceberg. It's fine."
Exactly. Not heroic people. We're not taking the mick out of people like the radio operators that, you know, are fighting to the last minute to make sure that there's people going to be saved because they've got signals out on the wireless. Those are heroes. We're not talking about them. We're talking about the nutters. They're like, I don't need to get into that lifeboat. This boat is unsinkable. Yeah, you're not helping, mate.
Yeah, because that's exactly it there, Adam. They're out on the deck shouting, "This boat is unsinkable," while it's literally going down.
I'll bite your ankles off. Get back over here.
Yeah, Black Knight, similar example. Deal with reality, lads. You're using flat Earth measurements. And
Oh, I'm sorry, Nathan. Go on.
No, go on. I was going to draw an example to something else that I watched recently with
No, go ahead.
the guy that on the behavioural panel. His name's Chase, and they've all got their own channels, but this happened to be on his own channel. And he's describing dealing with a difficult lawyer that's always bullying him and taking the mickey out of him and generally being nasty. And he's explaining this to a counsellor or a psychologist or something along those lines, or the boss. It doesn't really matter, a third party. And the doctor asks him about this bite that he had 10 years earlier from this fish, where this fish bit hold of him and poisoned him and caused him a lot of pain and put him in hospital. He's like, do you get angry at the fish? And this guy who's telling the story, Chase, says, well, no, the fish is just doing what the fish does by its nature. How can I get angry at the fish? And Chase explains that this guy's asked him if he gets angry at the fish, just stares at him for 15 seconds until the penny drops. Oh, the guy's just like the fish. He's just doing what is in his nature to do. Yeah? For whatever reason, he's the product of his environment, his upbringing, his education, and the end result is that. That's how he is. Yeah? And everyone we deal with is the same. Doesn't matter if it's Cat, MC Toon, who's the other guy we just mentioned, Mr. Sensible. They're all the same, right? They behave in very telling ways. Yeah? The way they respond to me, it brings a wry smile to my face when their non-responsive answers ad hom me. You're like, yeah, you do what you instinctually do when dealing with something you can't cope with. Lash out in a very primordial way, with very fight or flight. That's how they behave. You go, okay, Cats ran away. Toon and, what's the other guy? I keep forgetting his name. Mr. Sensible. Get into fight mode. They want to send the police round to me. You're like, really? Is that gonna do your elevation angles that you're getting for your challenge, Toon? Is it gonna undo the R value that you debunked with Mitchell, Mr. Sensible? No, but you want to send the police round. Okay. If that's what they want to do. But they keep using the same things over and over again. The ad hominem response is getting thin, and people don't respond to it as well as they used to. At first, it washed with their audience. This guy's a bad person. Doesn't matter what I am. Earth's measured flat. It's right there in Toon's challenge. It's right there in Mr. Sensible's R value. They need a flat Earth more than we do. So attack me all you like. Doesn't make any difference to the argument. But the response is telling. It tells me what they are, doesn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't matter if we're the Nazi party and you're the leader of it. We're still right.
Yeah, exactly.
Who cares?
They're not chuckling, though. They're sharing their pain in every ad hom. I hate you. I do you. That sounds painful. I don't care. You're completely indifferent to them. Half the time, like with Mr. Sensible a minute ago, I've remembered his name this time. But a minute ago, I couldn't, because he's inconsequential to me. They all are. But they're watching us like a hawk. You know what I mean? Hanging on every word.
Yeah. I mean, if you take McToon and Mr. Sensible as two examples, where in life would you feel that you've lost something by losing their friendship in some way? Or, you know what I mean? They're a plume. You wouldn't, would you? you wouldn't like outside of this topic. You wouldn't. They're not even mentionable, are they? Really?
I don't really follow what you're saying.
Well, as people, how interesting are they?
Not at all to me. I don't have any interest in them. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's the point I'm making. It's like the only thing that makes them anyway applicable is that they're in this arena shouting that we're bad. That's it. Outside of that, I mean, what would you be losing in your life if you didn't have their friendship? Nothing. They're boring, aren't they? How boring would they be to hang around with?
I can't remember. There's some philosopher saying about, the dumbest people talk about people. I can't remember the saying now. Smartest people talk about ideas. And there's a stage in between. I'll look it up.
I watched a little bit of Globebusters last night. I'll have to watch on more of it. I only saw a bit of it. And they were covering air flight. Now, I don't know what they covered after the point that I watched, but at the point I watched, they were covering which it was doing the
Just before
plane
you go,
coming into land.
You've only just started, so I will interrupt just because I found it quickly. So it's Eleanor Roosevelt. Great minds discuss ideas. Average minds discuss events. Small minds discuss people. Nathan's a bad person, said the small-minded person that responds to our arguments and ideas and measurements.
Well, we were just discussing them as well, so that kind of puts us temporarily in that bracket.
Yeah, by doing that, I, strictly speaking, bring it back onto people, but with an Eleanor Roosevelt quote about the expanded ideas that we will be discussing shortly, that I interrupted. Go ahead, Brian.
Anyway, back to what I was watching on Globebusters. Which it was covering a plane coming into land, right? The depression angle it must take, that they must account for. And if you look at there was one basic equation that pilots use across the board, but a lot of them will not stick to the equation. This is something that's kind of usable. Is that they'll take their altitude and divide it by 1,000, and then multiply that by 3, and that gives them kind of a distance, or kind of a distance that they can't go beyond. What's the best way to state it? A distance between them and the airport that they can't go beyond. That will be a proper safe decline, if you understand what I mean. So, like a plane at 35,000 feet would have 105 miles from the airport would have to start its decline, but that would even be a pretty steep decline, because if you do the maths, the pilot would have to start it at about 200 miles before the airport. And that means for 200 miles before the airport, like, they're treating the Earth as a flat plane, because all our calculations are based off of them landing, basically coming to a point where they're about 1,000 feet. They kind of work it out kind of like where it's a parallel, where they reach a point where they're 1,000 feet above what would be the elevation of the runway, right? So for them to do that on a globe, they'd have to take into account the 200 miles of curvature between that point and where the 1,000 feet above the airport is going to be. You know what I mean? So you're just using one big massive triangle. Now, I've seen this before. I was going to cover it myself a couple of times, and I just got distracted going on to other things. But it is a good argument, because there is no way around it. They have to treat the Earth as a flat plane to land the aircraft.
Right. Why were you watching Globebusters?
Because I saw that it was on, and it was about airplanes. So that's why I wanted to watch it. I mean, I'll still watch it from time to time. Like, a lot of it is nonsense, but now in the end, you get something out of it.
Fair
I
enough.
mean, it's not
Question is-
100% nonsense. You know what I mean? There is sometimes good stuff in there. What?
Did they bust the globe? That's the question.
Well, the airplane position that Whitson was taken up at the start of the show. As I said, I only watched the first bit of the show. I don't know what happened after that. But the Whitson's part, yeah, made it pretty difficult, made it impossible to be a globe. If you think about the calculations, that a plane at that kind of elevation, 35,000 feet, would have to be kind of looking to the start descending towards the Earth at about 200 miles out from the airport, which would require, you know what I mean, treating the Earth as a flat plane for 200 miles.
Yeah, and to treat it as a sphere, you're going to need a radius. Where did they get it from?
You sounding like you want to be negative about him. Did he overtly state how it proves Earth must be flat? Because if so, just give him praise. Good for him. Great.
Well, what the kick that Witz is on at the moment is a kick that we've been on for quite some time, and that is that he's promoting that every time they have to do anything that involves a lot of money or involves the loss of life, they have to treat the Earth as a flat plane, right? Which is true. You know, anytime they want to save lives or do anything, they must address reality, and so when they're addressing reality, they must address Earth as a flat plane. So he's correct there, and air travel is the best example of that all around, because there's so many ways that air travel makes it impossible to be a globe. And just the thing he was saying last night, with the showing last night, with the descent rate of an aircraft and how they must do it, is a perfect example of that. You know, and he did say that ends the globe. So, they have to put out something on Globebusters. They can't just talk about ether every week. You know, so there is sometimes something, like last week or the week before, I got that little tidbit about your man, is it Alfred Russel Wallace, the surveyor. Jaron said it. Now, I'll have to check it out to confirm it, but Jaron was saying that a lot of people don't realize that your man Wallace, who was up against Rowbotham, that he was the originator of evolution. A lot of people don't realize that, and they don't promote that because he's connected to flat Earth. Just like they don't, and the reason they don't, I understand why they don't, because he, if you look into the actual history, was debunked by Rowbotham, not the other way around. They promote it as if he debunked Rowbotham, but they don't. They only tell 2/3 of the story. They don't tell the final third of the story, where him and Rowbotham are there with a judge, and he shows that it's only the effect of optical drop. You know, from the top of the bridge at about 13 foot up. He shows that that's what it is, and he proves it, and the judge accepts it. They don't talk about that. So that's why a man Wallace, if he is the originator of evolution, this surveyor Wallace, that he's not popular. They don't promote him. You know, supposedly he was against vaccines as well, which is understandable if you're claiming, if you're saying that that your position that you hold is a position of, survival of the fittest, natural selection kind of stuff. I mean, the things like vaccines would get in the way of that. But supposedly, your man Wallace was the originator of evolution. Now, I don't know if that's 100% true, but Jaron has come out with this kind of information in the past, and it has been correct. So now and again, he comes out with a gem, and you kind of wonder, how is he coming out with these gems and also being stupid? But anyway, that's a separate topic.
Yeah, don't suggest what I think you might be leading on to suggest.
I'm not.
Well, I'm glad you got something out of it. That's good.
Well, there might be more in it. As I said, I only watched part of it, so there might be more in it. So I watched more of it. The point being is that just because we don't like the way they go about things doesn't mean that there'll always be nothing to learn or look at on their show. Like, I knew about airplanes doing what they did, but I didn't have that equation, for instance. So because of Whitset, I got that equation, on how they calculate. So I didn't have that particular equation. I knew that they did what they did. I knew it was a big distance from the airport, but I didn't have that particular equation to work off of. So there I got something.
Good. Anything else happened over the weekend, Brian? I only asked because it was a bit thin on the ground, the answer to the question when we started this morning.
Well, a lot of people are kind of siding, not everyone, but a lot of people were siding with Eli from the discussion the other night on Ballbusters. They were kind of going in his direction. They were kind of saying that his attitude towards things was correct or whatever. So, but a lot of people, there was actually a couple of things actually. There's two claimed flat earthers out there, right? One guy is Rafakakak, something like that is his name, and there's another guy called Mike 808. And these guys seem to think that it's okay to attack us. I mean, it's not like they seem to think that it's okay to attack us. Now, this guy Mike 808, he told me during the week that I should get into my own lane, right? This is what he told me. Now, I was told that same thing only one other time in this arena, and that was within 5 days of him telling me it. I was told it by a baller. So I kind of think there's people in the flat earth arena who are pretending to be flat earthers who are actually ballers. Because I can't really see these two guys as flat earthers anymore, and there's a couple of others. Just when I read their comments, the way they speak, it's this kind of attacking thing. I feel a hatred. If you understand what I mean, I feel like a hatred there, or a need to attack. That means that they have another agenda. So whoever Mike 808 is, and this other guy, Rafakakak, or whatever his name is, I don't trust them. There might be mega lerpers or something.
Okay.
Well, you have to pay attention to who's around you, Nathan. I mean, saying, okay, as if it doesn't matter. You have to pay attention to who's around you, because they're the people who will attack you when you need them not to.
No, don't I know it, mate.
Yeah.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah.
It wasn't a sarcastic okay. It was just my one eyebrow is raised, and that needs to be verbalized as my eyebrows are not on screen.
I just noticed that certain people are a bit loose. You know what I mean? Because there's a difference between slagging someone off, right, and actually having a little issue. You know, you can feel the difference. You can feel it from a comment. So if someone has a little issue or not, and telling someone to get into their own lane for a start, something like that, that's pretty arrogant. Number one, but it's also kind of dismissive. And I wouldn't be expecting that from a flat earther. Maybe a baller, maybe, and the baller who said it to me, I put him in his place. But the point is that I'm not expecting that from a flat earther who supposedly follows this show.
Are you sure it wasn't just a literal reference to the fact that you're probably a crap driver, you've only got an automatic license?
Nah, it was like, get into your own lane. It's like, this is my lane. You know, what
was the conversation about when you were told to get in your own lane? What was it that you were... with regards to Eli, no, you did say.
I can't remember exactly what it was, but I can't remember exactly what it was. It was from the guy Mike 808, so that it wasn't to do with the conversation the other night on Ballbusters. It was something else. It's like, yeah, it was like it complimented me and then told me to get into my own lane. It's like, kind of like, it was something to do with what we were talking about during the week. It was to do with never remember. It was to do with my position on your experience at that social, that flat out social. He was telling me, just stick to doing a bit of research and stay with that. Get into your own lane. It's like, this is my lane. I have a lot of lanes. Do you know what I mean?
Get in your own lane, Brian.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? The only other time in 9 years I was told that was within 5 days of that, maybe 3 days, by a baller. I find that pretty strange. Get in your own lane. I'm in it.
Okay. I mean,
You've never had someone tell you to get in your own lane before?
Not in this arena, and not like I've had it happen I've had it happen in real life, but not in this arena and in the way that it happened. Also, that guy, Yaman Rafakak or whatever the guy's name is, he keeps on like his comment underneath the video the other night was Brian and Candace sitting in the tree, and obviously he didn't add in the rest, but people add in the rest. It's like, that's the very thing that I'm trying to, that is the whole opposite of my whole point there. And it was from the very start concerning that issue. But yet, that is what he's choosing to jump on again.
He's just taking the mick. You know, it's third grade stuff. I don't trust it. It's third grade stuff, and it's one way. It might just be, if they're on your side and they say that, it's a way of just sort of fobbing you off. Oh, it's just because you fancy Candice. Well,
oh yeah, that's true.
But just let me finish. Just let me finish. But it wouldn't matter if you did. Again, it's another one where what are we actually talking about when we're talking about the reach, social influence, general demeanour, categories that are being researched, feast and nonsense. Does any of that have any bearing about whether or not, for the sake of argument, you found her attractive? Well, no. So just for the sake of argument, if you just started off the discussion by going, I really, really like this girl, she's very attractive to me. You're like, that's fascinating. What about her? Well, she's talking about flat Earth. And then potentially it'd never get mentioned again. Now, in this instance, you haven't done that. That's not the inference. But that'll be how it gets spun into anyway, won't it? Why? Because, well, that'll just annoy Brian. It'll undermine his point that he spent ages going through. So why not?
But why is there a need to undermine the point?
There isn't one.
That's my issue.
That's why I said if it was a friendly doing it, you'd be doing it just to have a bit of banter with you. So if I was like, after we discussed it in great detail, and then obviously and overtly I go, I said just because you fancy it, that's the only reason you brought this up for us to discuss. And that's just me having a dig at you for the sake of having a laugh. Whereas if someone's doing it in the comment section, it almost seems like that's trying to undermine you, but it might just be someone on their own side that's just trying to do that like I've suggested. It's just because you fancy her, innit? Like, yeah, nice trying to undermine it, but no, that's not what happened. And often they're gauging how much you react to that. Because if you just go, no, then the joke doesn't work. Whereas if you go, I don't fancy her, how dare you accuse me of that? I actually definitely don't fancy her. Why would you suggest I've actually got a girlfriend? Then you go, oh, yeah. Why so defensive? So it's just someone just messing with you.
Yeah, I understand that. But my issue with the whole thing is I was there the other night and I had to say, yeah, I do like Candace. I had to go as far as stating that, right? Something that all the guys who are heterosexual would state, right? It's like, why are you telling me you don't like her in that way? The point is that I had to state that simply so I could get on with what I was saying. It's like, why could I not say what I was saying? Why did how she looks have any? Why does that have any bearing on the point? And when someone continually, because this is not the first time that guy has kind of attacked me on that. And it's just like, I had a little thing with him a while ago, a little interaction with him. It's like, when someone continually wants to undermine you or undermine your point, I find that, right, I read.
Yeah, he's not taking a piss out of you anymore. If you had something with him before, then Nathan, I'm sorry, it's not him taking a piss out of him.
Who?
Whoever the guy was that said that.
Yeah, he had a kind of thing, like he kind of has this ongoing thing where he's kind of slagging me, saying I have a French accent and things like that. But this is coming from his intent is the issue I have. Because this has started a while back with this one guy. Now, the Mike 808 guy, this is only recently that he decided to tell me to get into my own lane. Right? It's just, when you start seeing people's comments, and at first you go back 6 months ago and the comments seem okay in underneath the FED videos or whatever. And then bit by bit the comments start to change. You kind of go, there's something going on here. This person is not who they were trying to portray themselves as 6 months ago. There's something else going on. There's an agenda here or a dislike or something. And that's the way feeling about these two guys, and more than them, but they're the two for as examples. That there's a lot of maybe pretend people in the arena. I'd like them to come on the show and prove they're flat earthers. Come on to the show, prove they're flat earthers. Rafa Kakak and Mike Gateway.
I think they should.
I don't know.
Prove it.
Well, I don't know, because if we were, without being too derogatory, if we were like Witsit and we're trying to incorporate everyone into our little fold, then yeah, you want to know the allegiance. But given that we're just as critical with literally everybody, even ourselves, like literally only last week I was criticising myself from 10 years ago on a video we were responding to. So given that's the case, I don't care who you are or what you believe. If you're suggesting that you're a flat earther but deep down you've got a globe faith, why should I care about that either? Do you kind of know where I'm going with that? You're just going to come under the same scrutiny if you say something wrong. So if you change your attitude and you've come across as being a flurf and then suddenly you're being critical, like, well, feel free. It's just going to get criticised in the same way as anything else would, friend or foe.
Sometimes it's like lumpy gas in a vacuum. He started saying some strange things, and not to do with the flat measured flat stuff, but other things. And I think it was him or someone. Maybe it wasn't him. Maybe it was wasn't him. Maybe it was someone else. And QE also noticed that this person was saying some strange stuff. It's like the behavior is not the behavior of someone who actually supports you. It's the behavior of someone who's there, but they actually want to have a little go at you all the time. What's your issue with me? Do you know what I mean? So when someone in real life keeps on wanting to have a little go at you, it's like, this is not humor. This is you have a little issue, and why they have a little issue. Do you know what I mean? That's what it is. Where are these little issues coming from? I don't know you personally. I don't know what I did. But something I've done has annoyed you.
Yeah. And again, turncoats, as you're describing, I've dealt with for 10 years. People that seem to be on your side, that gain your trust and friendship, and then immediately turn against you when whatever displeases them, or they're not adult enough to discuss something that they've got a difference with you in an opinion or a belief or whatever it is that you're dealing with. And ultimately, that's kind of, in a way, a good thing as well, because sometimes the people that you interact with become your friends, people like you, and then other times people that you could develop a friendship with don't, and they end up turning on you. Most of the time it's pretty neutral, but I'm just saying there are extreme examples where you gain a friendship out of just doing a show like this, and other times you'll gain an enemy from from a person that seemed neutral at the first outset of your interactions with them. So
yeah, and there isn't the correct reason for it, if you know what I mean. You haven't done anything to them. They just suddenly have an issue with you.
Yeah, but people are weird. The amount of people that seem perfectly reasonable at face value and then suddenly are doing something totally unreasonable at your detriment. You're like, okay, it's par for the course. People are shit.
I'm okay with borders being like that with me because I'm expecting it from them. Do you know what I mean? I'm expecting it from them if I see comments that are negative or whatever. That's fine. They're being honest. But I can't stand when someone's pretending to be on my side or to like me, but really they have a little issue with me. That's someone standing behind you waiting for their opportunity to get you. Maybe I dealt with it too much in my own life myself as I was growing up. I don't know.
I was on mute. Sorry. Yeah. Maybe
that's a stabber. That's a backstabber, Brian.
I was just going to say maybe you're sensitive for that reason. I don't know. I'm not saying sensitive in a derogatory way either.
No, that's true. I would be sensitive in that. I mean, I think we all should be sensitive in that way. But no, there's no one worse. Neil, is there? There's no one worse than someone who you just can't trust and is claiming to be on your own side. There's no one worse than that. At least if they're outright saying I'm opposing you, then the line's in the sand. Then rather than someone trying to pretend they're on your own side when they're not.
But again, I'm so used to it. People are backstabbing bastards. occasionally find someone that bucks the trend, and then you become friends with them. And even then, people that you've been friends with for 10 years can still stab you in the back. That's how it goes sometimes also.
No, I'm sorry. I don't agree with that. If someone stabs you in the back, then they were never your friend.
Yeah, sure. But it might take you 10 years to figure that out.
Same.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, and you're right. But it might take you 10 years and your stupidity and naivety and ignorance to figure that out.
Yeah, you were their friend for 10 years.
Yeah.
But they weren't your friend.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Jaron is a great example of that with you. You
And
spent years promoting
Alwyn
him.
was never a friend.
I don't know what Arwen was.
It's hard to know. Arwen is just decides to do his own thing all the time and attack people. Hard to know what Arwen was. But Jaron
He had an agenda. Sorry.
Maybe. In any event. I know we're kind of dissecting the personal aspects of this subject, and when it's our opponents reacting to our arguments with personal attacks, I kind of roll my eyes or laugh or just think, how telling. That's the nature of you, isn't it? That you are that beast. That is your nature.
Are we going to go over that? I thought we were going to do Thunderclown today. What happened?
Yeah, we did. We did a different video. We'll cover Thunderfoot tomorrow.
That never works out that way, but I'm going to hold you to it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it doesn't, Nathan. It never works that way.
Sorry,
You'd be better off doing Thunderfoot now.
He's talking about measurements, though, Brian. So, Nathan may stay with it.
Well, I'm glad there's Brian around because I can tell him be around for the live show tomorrow because we'll cover Thunderfoot and it should be a laugh. He's saying he can measure Earth's sphericity, which he's begged the question of in the first 5 seconds, with 100 quid's worth of equipment. So it'd be intriguing to see what he's actually got to offer.
I can't guarantee I'll be here tomorrow. I may or may not be.
Fair enough.
But now would be a better time.
It would, but we're not going to. We're going to cover it on the live show.
You're trying to sell to me tomorrow's show how brilliant it's going to be. And I'm saying, we're here right. Go on. Sorry.
Tomorrow's not guaranteed.
Exactly.
Very good, Huey. That's true.
Exactly. This is it. We're here now. Now it can happen right now. Let's have the party now. Never mind tomorrow.
At least give us a few minutes so we could, get excited for what's going to happen.
I don't know if he's doing it to be humorous, this being completely out of character. I don't really get it. When we were covering Creaky, you're like, appeal to the future fallacy after appeal to the future fallacy with what might happen with Witsit in the future. You know what I mean? Now there's only the here and now. Oh, well, that's a bit of a turn of attitude. I wonder why that wasn't applied when it was the concerns of Candice and what she may or may not get up to in the future.
Oh, you having a go at me? I thought it was QE. Yeah, no. But we don't know if tomorrow. Tomorrow is not definite. We know we have today. So let's make the most of it. We're here now. Let's do this.
We'll cover it tomorrow.
4 more hours.
We'll cover it on the live show tomorrow.
We only have the present.
Look,
the past is gone, and the future will never come.
That's true.
Only the present exists.
But if we happen to
we've
get
only
hit by buses tomorrow and we never cover Thunderfoot, I mean, we'll always have gas go down, go boom, boom.
Did he make a new video?
Tomorrow, what you could do today.
Yes, he did. He made a video claiming he can measure Earth's sphericity for $100.
Wow. I wonder if it's going to have a curve calculator in it.
I don't know. He's already begged the question, though, so...
There's one way to find out.
Tune in tomorrow for Flat Earth Debate Live. That's right. Well done, Brian. You're right. I should plug future events.
He co-hosted you there, QB.
That's enough to buy John a new mic.
Indeed.
What's the matter with the one he was hanging out the window?
I'll give you indeed.
I'm
Adam, will you say something?
Well, just yeah. Is my mic fine now?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, I didn't do it then. It was Discord, not me.
There's something wrong with your connection to Discord on Saturday.
Well, I dropped and came back a couple of times, but it didn't seem to help. So
It's not your mic, it's your volume, Adam.
You can't listen. You can't say anything about anything.
Yeah,
Like,
you can't. Yeah, you just let us handle it.
I've got the worst mic on planet Earth, haven't I, Neil?
That's a good Adam. You're quick-witted boy.
Today, are you saying, Brian, that people were siding with Eli?
yeah, I'm looking at the comments underneath the video on QE's channel, and there seem to be a few people they were not exactly stating that we were wrong, but they were kind of siding with Eli. I understand that where they're coming from, but I don't think they're understanding our position maybe as clearly as we would like them.
I think Eli demonstrated that only a few people have emotional investment in her, which is what I was trying to point out. My pleasement with her current topics isn't to do with that. But if you listen to Eli, the reason not to listen to her was because he used to like her in this field, and she disappointed him.
Yeah.
What was? I don't think you got his exact point. I don't think you guys were listening to him.
Well, he kept saying that. So what was it then? Because I don't get his point.
I can't remember.
That's helpful.
His point, from what I got, was that when he was involved in the politics side of things, back a couple of years ago, when it was time to bring out some information or highlight some information that other people were highlighting and losing their channels because they were highlighting it, she didn't do it. A little bit like Witsit, where speaking around the topic instead of going to the bullseye. And that was his kind of point. I was like, okay, but my point, I won't say our point, but it's probably very much the same, Adam, is that she's bringing up the topic in what is now mainstream.
Nathan, what was your Eleanor Roosevelt quote earlier?
Great minds talk about ideas. Let's just bring it back up. Great minds discuss ideas. Average minds discuss events. Small minds discuss people.
Yeah. So I'm discussing the event and the idea of what that event is. Whereas we're critiquing Candice. I don't care about Candice. I care that she's influential and she's raising a topic, rightly or wrongly. And if she raises it wrongly, I can critique her. But if all she's raised is something that is disappointing to me, is in it doesn't cover enough detail in the topic, but I hope she's talking about that actually she isn't, I can't have critique for the lady yet. I can just recognise that she's pointing out that government lie, and she's citing from areas that we're quite knowledgeable in. That was my point, QE. I generally didn't get what Eli's was, other than don't trust her, which I don't think I ever said I did.
Yeah, me either. I never gave her 100% trust. I think Eli was.
Does that sound like QE? Go ahead, answer him, QE.
Go on, sorry.
No worries. I think it was an excellent show. Tune in to Ballbusters to see the result of that discussion, which lasted about 3 hours. Or we could go through it again now. I mean, it's up to us.
Or we could do Thunderclown.
Okay, I'm going to round out. With that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G Plus panels for making today's after show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, joining as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.